I can't do this anymore. Left my past all on the floor. I've been trying to keep it moving, now we going north. Going up 2, 3, up 2, 3. Got this joy inside of me because I can't do this anymore. Left my past all on the floor. I've been trying to keep it moving, now we going north. Going up 2, 3, up 2, 3. Got this joy inside of me because I got the king. We've been really moving places, always on the low. I was shining in the tunnel cause I got the glow. People really hating and it really start to show. Yeah, we gon' level up again cause that's just how we roll. Yeah, came in with the sauce. Yeah, learned out from the boss. Yeah, I've been learning lessons from the struggles and the losses. Praying for communion for the races since we lost it. I done had enough of it for all the pain and cost anymore. Left my past all on the floor. I've been trying to keep it moving, now we going north. Going up 2, 3, up 2, 3. Got this joy inside of me.
What is going on, Ram fam? How is everybody doing today? Thank y'all for your patience. As y'all know, me and my technical difficulties. But thank you for joining. So today, we're going to do something special, and Happy New Year's. So previously, I had individual veteran guests, and today we are back in case anybody had questions that they still wanted to ask or that they wanted to ask on that day that they did not get a chance to. Also, to provide these veterans an opportunity to expound on anything that they already shared. Because, you know, once I have my chance, I remember there were some things that I wanted to say that I didn't say. So, of course, someone else may have had those same thoughts and feelings. So please do not be afraid to put your questions in the chat. That's what they are here for, to answer your questions. So to remind everybody, today's veterans actually are all Air Force veterans. So my Marines aren't here, my Navy vet's not here, so it's all Air Force. But that does not mean that your questions cannot be answered, particularly as one or two of these people have worked in joint services. Joint, whatever, have been in a joint area, whatever. They'll correct me when they come on. Y'all know what I mean. So we are gonna welcome in, which order am I gonna do this? I'm gonna try to do it from order of appearance. So we're gonna welcome in a comms troop, retired BJ Johnson. Next, we're gonna welcome in still active duty, Rob Naylor. Supply troop, we're gonna welcome in retired comms troop, Amir. And fellow Air Force veteran, Security Forces, Martez. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing?
Doing great. Hello.
Okay, so what order are we gonna do this? So since it's not our first time, we're not gonna do the whole everything. But from the way y'all was introduced, the order y'all were introduced, just remind the people what is your hometown, and then if you want, where you are right now.
So my hometown is Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and right now I'm in the DMV area in Maryland.
Next, Naylor.
Oh, so me. Yeah, hometown is Waldorf, Maryland. And the Air Force guys blessed me to be back in the DMV area. I'm right back where I started, in Maryland.
All right.
All right.
Martez.
Good deal. What's going on? Hometowns, Jackson, Mississippi, Harvey, Illinois, and now I'm here back in the Mississippi area, Pearl, Mississippi, to be exact.
All right.
Yeah, hometown is Savannah. I'm hanging out in DC for right now.
All right. So, have each and every one of you had an opportunity? So this is going to be our icebreaker. Have each of you had the opportunity to watch everyone else's live? One no. No. Okay.
I watched everybody except Martez. I haven't seen Martez's live.
Okay, but I know that you know what Martez's job is. Okay, so how I'm gonna do this is then starting with BJ. BJ, I can't ask you any questions about Amir since y'all have the same job. What is something interesting or that you would like to share that you know about? I'm gonna let you pick so then I can choose the other person about either supply or security forces.
What's something interesting I know about those jobs?
So no, it's either something interesting from their life or something that you know about their job.
I know security forces like to go to sleep on the flight line when they no, I'm just kidding. Nah, I know no, seriously, security forces they do more than just like standing at the gate. That's what most people know them for. But you know, they got a lot of different things that they can do. Supply the same way as well.
No.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. The first meeting I said then security forces they do a lot more than just at the gate.
Okay, so I got two comms people. So well, since we went security forces, Martez, what is something that you know about particular? So BJ and Amir both were ground radio, which went to a whole bunch of things, but they do everything communications. So what do you know about communication squadron?
To be honest, I don't know too much about the communication squadron. A little bit more about the supply, but the communications. If I had to take a guess, if you give me to take a guess at it,
so I'll tell you, their title used to be ground radio, and one of y'all could whatever it ended up being when y'all retired, whatever it was called.
Hey, BJ not in comms anymore.
When he retired, he wasn't in comms.
The comm squadron. He went over to ops. I'm just laying it out. We made a change at the end.
Okay. Well, since you're talking, well, your title went from ground radio to what ultimately when you retired?
Yeah, we split. So we were all ground radio at one point in time. Then they split us. One side went to RF, whatever they wanted to call it. The other side was like airfield systems. We were still in the comm squadron. Then the
Don't give them the answer. Don't give them the answer. So Martez, even you
I'm just saying it's an ops side. There's an ops. It's not just comm squadron anymore. We have the OSS and that side of the house too now.
Okay, you can correct me, and in the end. So off of those titles, what do you think they did?
I would go with the root word. They communicate. You know what I'm saying? So they deal with communications, radio, everything in that sector. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So
I mean, but I'm sure it sounds one word. There's a lot probably go behind the scenes with that one.
Okay. Amir, I have no choice, but I have to let you. No, because Naylor interviewed me. So Amir, what do you know about supply?
Oh, that's the homies. Especially when you need stuff, right? And the line of work that I used to do, supply used to come forward with us. And so when we needed parts and pieces or, all kind of logistic challenges, supply figured it out for us. Sometimes it meant like maybe a airdrop someplace or, because they were part of the logistical train, right? So you was part of it. I like boiled peanuts. I'm a Georgia boy, right? She would drop off boiled peanuts. supply will work their piece along with mail, and I would have boiled peanuts on a cold mountaintop in Afghanistan in like a day and a half. So like supply used to come through, whatever it is, or maybe I'm missing a helmet or two, and supply would magically make those helmets appear for a brother, and so I didn't have to pay that money back when I was out processing. So yeah.
All right. So
Peace,
Naylor, since you're the only one left, you interviewed me. You can either share something interesting that you learned about information managers, or you can choose any person.
I still don't know much about information managers. I know a little bit about security forces, just because my dad was security forces too. So shout out to y'all. Can y'all hear me, by the way? Because I know my internet's kind of lagging.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I'll speak, I guess, to Calm. I know Calm is very. They, like he said, they come through. I've deployed a lot of times, so every time we ended up in kind of a remote place, Calm came through to get us at least some Wi-Fi. That's what we need, Wi-Fi. So.
Okay. All right. So Martez, since you were the last guest prior to me, go ahead and just give a little snippet of what security forces does. Can't hear you, muted.
My bad. We definitely did the entry and exit control. We also did flight line security, watch the aircraft, any level resources, especially anything, level 1, level 2 type resources. We did civil patrol, so just like you would have a regular police, in the community. We did civil patrol, watch the base, the NCO clubs, all that type of stuff, respond to fights, the domestics. And also too, here's a good one, behind the scenes. They also too had cameras, in different bases, things like that. So we control and watch the security of cameras and things like that, and just like any other patrol.
Okay. I think BJ came on before Amir. So BJ, especially now that we know you went ops and Amir did not. So if you want to give a brief synopsis on what it was that you did.
Yeah, well, Amir almost changed careers completely, pretty much. But what I did when he said I wasn't in ops anymore, or I went to ops, but I also went like more at I started working in the guard too. I was still active duty, but I worked in the guard. But I managed a lot of equipment across different bases, so it wasn't just like one specific base. So that was something that was fairly new. So I ended my career doing that. It's kind of full circle because I was managing the equipment that I worked on when I first came in the military. So, but I managed it for all the bases and not just the one equipment I had. So that was real interesting. But it was for the guard and not active duty. So, the management of equipment wise, and one last part about our job that, especially after the fact that we merged so many different times, about 3 times, I want to say 2 or 3 times while we were in the military, you can go to a different base and be working on completely different equipment for your whole career. So every base you go to, you'd be working on all new equipment. That was always interesting and a little bit strenuous too, a little bit, because you're learning your new job and you're supervising folks and you're trying to be the best technical person you can be, but it's on something that you never worked on before. So that was always interesting too.
Okay, BJ always with the jump ahead of a question I have written down. Well, I tell you. All right, Rob, quick synopsis.
My bad. Amir sent me the questions ahead of time. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't. No.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
I said just provide a quick synopsis of supply, or just your
quick synopsis. So supply is very diverse. A lot of people don't know that. We can do anything from hands-on work, managing equipment, making sure that people have what they need to fly, delivering helmets at a moment's notice. Or what was you say, boiled peanuts? I guess, we kind of dabble in that too. But it can be very strenuous on some levels when you're talking about timeliness, you know what I'm saying? Like my caps, getting stuff to somewhere at a certain time. Where I am now, it's a little bit more low threat, I would say. It's a part of supply I didn't know existed. I'm pretty much a liaison between the Civil Air Patrol. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that, Civil Air Patrol, and the United States Air Force. So I pretty much make sure that they're adhering to supply discipline on the civil side. So managing different regions and making sure they're doing everything they're supposed to do. So it's very diverse. You can do hands-on work, you can do office work. It's kind of fun. We are at pretty much every base. So opportunities are very, wide. I didn't know what supply was when I came in, but I'm glad I kind of got forced into it. So anybody looking to go into supply, I think it's a good career move.
And Amir, you can provide your portion. You muted. You still muted.
Look at that. How about that? I'm unmuted now.
Yeah.
So, like BJ was talking about, right? So ground radio is another one of those diverse. I mean, I guess most of the career fields in the Air Force are diverse because they can change from base to base. But like starting out with BJ, we was combat communication. So we were doing, initial airfield setup whenever air base is stood up to sighting in and ensuring that runways are correct from that area to when we got the Whiteman Air Force Base. I work with the cops on the we call BSART, the Bomber Strategic Recovery teams, where we did their nuclear LMR system and VIDS. We did the VIDS, so the visual intrusion detection stuff. We worked with the cops on that. Then into the special operation arena, we did that type of work to where I wasn't no longer doing fully comms when I went over to the intel side, but a lot of the communication devices were devices used within ground radio, like the small SATCOM systems, small radio systems that we might put into our system, into like aircraft and some other platforms. So being a radio guy, I go, radio is everything that comms didn't want to do. So if they didn't have an area, they gave it to ground radio. If it had electricity on it and someone can talk through it, they pitched it our way. So we became the jack of all trades within the comms arena.
Okay. And so lastly, it is I'm going to take Amir's last statement where he said, if it's something that they didn't want to do, if something in comms people didn't want to do, they give it to information managers. If it did not have to do with wires, it may have anything to do with no type of wires and stuff like that, information managers had to do it. So therefore, what I forgot to talk more about was my experience with records management. But records management, we did that's making sure everybody's, back in the day it was paper. So making sure all your paper files are up and tight, that you keep them for as long as you're supposed to keep them. You know how to retrieve them when you want them. And, every squadron I was in was good. Every little thing you have to do, every little thing when I'm in charge. Got to make sure you write your date and your initials at the top corner of the pieces of paper. And people did not like that. They hated me coming to their offices because they like, I got to go pump fuel, or I got to go run these cables, or they ain't got time for that. But it's important. So, yeah, that I had to do. Privacy Act, Freedom of Information Act, all of that. So when people are requesting their records, that was a part of what I had to do and make sure that we knew how to do that. The mail, it was a part of my job. So like I just watched, what's it called, the 888 or 8666, whatever. That explains it right there, what I did. Those ladies paved the way of going through all that mail, sorting it out, figuring out where does it need to go so that can get their mail, and then the stuff in computers that I did do. I did the simple stuff because somebody else did the other stuff. So just basically setting up people's accounts, creating a name, creating the computer profile, and making sure their stuff is saved. That is what I did. I'm sure I'm missing something. Okay, so welcome back again. Was there anything in particular that you happen to have thought of after you did your live that you wanted to kind of expound on before I get into my made up questions? We'll start with Martez. Just like anything. Was there something that you wanted to talk a little bit more about?
Not off the top of my head. I can't think of anything, to be honest with you right now.
Okay. It'll probably come to you.
Right.
Rob.
Same. Nothing off the top of my head. If there's, just looking forward to the other questions. See if there's anything else.
Okay. BJ.
No, me neither.
Oh, y'all gonna say that, huh? Okay, Amir.
All right, I'll keep this thing going. I think I thought about something. It wasn't directly after the interview, but it was just questions that from the other day from our dinner. Some of the young folks asking about the military. They're thinking about joining. And of course, we like Team Air Force. That's the way it should go. But something that wasn't really told to me is a strategy coming into the military and how to execute that strategy. And because a lot of us go in and yeah, we all find success, right? I think everybody here found success, but how could we be more deliberate about our success? And thinking about, hey, if we're going to have another generation go in, because I'm this way, I don't want, if my kids do come in, I don't want a chief master sergeant for my kids. I want a colonel. And so how do we propel the next generation so they don't end up doing exactly the same footsteps? Like all of my, my dad and my granddad were retired senior NCOs. That sounds good, but in reality, no, it's not. We should strive higher. And I think most of it is because we don't come in with a plan. And then I look at other people who are officers, who become officers right from the beginning, right? They are coming from legacy. They have plans of execution and they kind of get after it to where if they do finish as a major, I was looking at CNN. CNN got a bunch of lieutenant colonels and colonels, talking on their show. I give the same advice as this lieutenant colonel. And I'm like, why? I could say the same thing. All of y'all can give strategic assessments about certain things around the world, right? But the only reason they got that job is because they got they got the officer behind their name.
Any of y'all jump on that? I know y'all got some thoughts. Just jump on that.
Yeah. Shout out to Amir. You the real MVP because that's a real good conversation. I think especially in the position I'm in now, where I'm able to see a different scope of the military. I work with a lot of retired officers, and they're pilots, and so with where we work hand in hand with a lot of cadets. So like the ages of the cadets are from like 12 to 18 or something like that. So a lot of these kids learn how to fly planes. They learn leadership skills, all those things. I never heard of it before. And so a lot of them turn out to be officers. Like my big boss, the big colonel, he's a prior cadet. So a lot of them are prior cadets. So they went through the same program. So a lot of those things aren't taught to us or pushed to us through, like you said, a strategy to becoming, going in and going where you want to go. So that's a big thing. I think we got to learn. Like I came in with no real strategy. But like you said, I would have went as an officer if I would have known better. I would have done it differently. So that's a big thing. I yield.
I'm here. I was doing something, but I was hoping, BJ probably would have chimed in to something. But okay. You ain't got nothing, BJ?
I mean, they kind of said it all. It ain't a whole lot more you can add. It just, illicit is never treated like we should have been. Those illicit, just to be honest, never treated like with the same respect as like people, just in general. I think officers are main thing. Just the officers primarily get an order. They might be privy to a little bit more information, but once you get a certain level, it's kind of like you all get that information, but and we more or less become where we give our advice and they make the decision. But that, yeah, I'll just leave it there.
Okay. All right, I did not mute myself. All right, so we gonna welcome in one more previous guest. We have a Marine turned Air Force. We're gonna welcome in, and he was in comms. So Demetrius, when you come on, then you just need to say where you're from. So Marine turned Air Force, comms troop, Demetrius.
Hey, how y'all doing, everybody? I apologize for my lateness. When you got a little one, you don't know when they gonna decide they gonna wake up or take their nap. So I'm originally from upstate New York. I call Nevada my home now, and as stated, I started out in the Marine Corps from '96 to '01, and they met me when I first came into the Air Force, or I met them when I first came into the Air Force at good old White Man Air Force Base. Way back in 2001, and yeah, I missed what y'all was talking about earlier. So if y'all can catch me up, because I don't know what I'm supposed to be saying right now.
Oh, well, they just got done talking about having a strategy for entering the military, but I'm gonna move to a question that so did you have anything that you wanted to kind of expound on from when you were here?
No, I think just talking about having a plan going into the military. I know I got a couple of young people now that I deal with, since I'm the grand old man now. And they're talking about joining the military. They say it's so willy-nilly, like, yeah, I'm just join the military. Like, nah, you don't really know what you're asking for. Like, I'm not against the military, but this is gonna be a 4 to 6 year commitment. So I think you need to know that up front, and understand that pie in the sky that they selling you in the commercials ain't gonna be what you're gonna get. Again, I got nothing against the military, but you just need to know, hey, there's some places they could send you that's gonna be kind of crappy, or they could send you to some wonderful places. Again, I met y'all in Knob Noster, Missouri. I thought I was going to Kansas City. I thought all Air Force bases was all major metropolitan areas. So I still remember when I got that cab and said go to Whiteman, and that cab driver said, "You sure?" I should have known then what I was getting into, but I was like, no, I press 3.5 hours later. I was like, oh my Lord, what is this foolishness?
Well, being from both sides of Illinois and Kansas, and when we got there, I was like, "What the heck?" Because they only had the one stop sign. That was country to me. But I
Oh yeah,
digress.
building the new McDonald's when I got there, because they
Yeah, that was
didn't
new.
have one. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Amir, for starting that conversation, which was close to what I actually had written down. I wrote down something close of why you. Okay, well, those of you who are fathers while you were in the military, what was the most stressful thing about parenting? That's just a broad, open question. Like, while you were active duty and you're trying to parent, what was the most stressful thing about that?
You want us to go in order?
Well, shoot, it's only two of I think. Okay, 2, 3, whatever. Go, BJ.
I'll be honest. I'll be trying to forget about everything in the military after I done retired. I'll just be like, I'll be forgetting about everything I can about this thing. Uh, no, I don't. I don't try to forget about everything, but I don't know if I really had as much of a stressful part because most of my deployment, all my deploying came before I had kids.
Okay.
And so after that, I would do some different TDYs and things. So I don't know if I had much of a stressful part. If it was anything, it maybe was moving and not having like just stability. Because then once you kind of settle after retiring, I think just like we kind of get used to moving every 3 to 5 years. I think the family does as well. And so I think my kids is looking forward to maybe going somewhere else after I retire. And when we didn't, they was like, "Oh, we should have moved. Oh, we should have moved when you got a job, Dad." It's like, nah, that's not. I don't always work like that. So I think that's a part that I don't call it too stressful. But if it's one thing, I think just the stability aspect, not being able to just be someplace and create those family bonds and things that we are able to probably do growing up, especially like growing up if you grew up in the same city for your whole time. You have where you can walk to your cousin's house or get to your grandma's house or the family house and things of that nature. You don't get to do that in the military like that. And then you're moving all the time. You just don't have that experience. So that's what I'll say to that.
Okay, thanks. Rob.
Not so I guess I'm the only one still currently in, right? But that is kind of like on the same lines. I would say stability, but I'm happy now because I got stability. This is my last assignment, so I'm where I'm going to stay. But moving around, having the kids set up you know, a life somewhere, kind of difficult. I think even time, right? So like when I was at Langley, my time was limited because I worked so much. Um, so being a father and not having time to spend with your kids is kind of difficult. But I look forward to retiring so I can forget about this thing, like BJ said. But that for me, that's pretty much what it was or is.
Yeah. And Amir.
Yeah, same thing. It's time for the kids. Um, those I say small talk, right? It's like those little conversations that pop up just out of nowhere. You don't really have a chance to have that when you deployed or whatever. You just it's just having that quality time with the kids. It's probably one of the most stressful things.
Okay. What y'all? Some of y'all kind of hit it already. So now, trying to say, did Demetrius come on? Yeah, Demetrius came on before BJ. If you have anything extra to add other than what was already said, what was the greatest benefit or reward of being? Well, we still talk about being fathers, but being a father while in the military. But if y'all two, the other two who wasn't dads, during their time, if y'all just want to talk about what was the greatest benefit, you can do that. Or just from a male perspective, what was the greatest benefit if you knew your manhood in the military? I think Demetrius came on before BJ, so Demetrius, you would answer first.
The biggest benefit that I got, as far as manhood from the military, it's twofold, right? Because the Marines kind of lied to me, and I believe the propaganda machine that the Marines are like the best and the greatest. And so when I got out the Marine Corps and I'm no longer an active Marine, what do I have to hang my hat on? And I got in the Air Force, and it was a rough transition, and I was still a Marine at heart. And even my wife to this day says I still have Marine Corps tendencies in me. Amir, stop smiling. And so um, it was relearning that your military service isn't actually what makes you a man. right? But dealing with a diverse group of people, different backgrounds, and having to, you know, make your mission happen, having to work in the shop and make those things go was of great benefit to me, because at this point I could blend into any workplace environment and function and be of benefit. Um, but you know, ultimately the greatest benefit to my manhood came after I retired, which was that retirement pay and disability pay. So that's been wonderful. It's allowed me at this point to pursue my dream of being a full-time personal trainer and actually train out of my home gym, and eventually want to have a brick and mortar within the next 2 to 3 years. So that's what the military afforded me. Um, but yeah, learning how to deal with different people. But if you go into the military expecting that to make you a man, you're gonna be sadly mistaken, because what happens when you take the uniform off, right? And if that's your identity, that's who you what you laid your claim to fame to be, it's a wrap, buddy. Because nobody cares about your rank once retired is in front of it. But that ID is nice though.
Yeah. All right, BJ.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was anything that necessarily if you can you repeat the question for me?
So, if you were a father while you were in the military, what was the greatest benefit? Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me get it right. Yeah, what was the greatest benefit or reward of you being a father while you were in the military? And if you wasn't a father, then just to your manhood while you were becoming a man in the military.
Yeah, so the greatest benefit it pertains to fatherhood was that all them delivery bills was paid for the for the baby. If I'm real about it, you know, I think you know, not to compare kids with like with people when you might be supervising, but you know, I think dealing with so much that I did, you know, as a supervisor, I don't think it was anything like my kids can kind of do that make me like, you know, I deal with a whole lot of stuff. And then even now, to be honest, like, you know, just even working outside of the military, um, even now and stuff, you know, your kids don't realize you deal with a lot of shenanigans just in general, you know, in everyday life, you know. Um, but yeah, so I don't know how much the military really prepared me anything for like fatherhood. To be quite honest, you know, it's all just it's all just things you learn and as you grow up, especially if you grew up without a father. You know, that's a whole nother podcast right there. But you know, but just in respect, you know, it was all learning aspect. You know, and trying to glean what you can, see other people that maybe are good fathers, and try to take some things that maybe that they might do or how they are. But I don't know if I can add more to that piece as far as that question.
Okay. Rob.
I don't think anything in terms of, I don't think it helped in terms of manhood. I think the greatest benefit is kind of in line with, he said, every time my kids get sick, TRICARE is the best thing ever because I don't have to pay for it. But that, and I don't know, I think dealing with learning that my stress level, how I can deal under pressure, helps me become a better father. Because, you know, being a father is pressure packed in and of itself. So dealing with pressure situations in the military makes it a lot easier at home, to be honest.
How?
I don't know if
How
that's
so?
in terms of military or not.
For,
What's that?
for the people who ain't in the military, how does that make it? You said make it easier. How so?
Well, because you deal with a bunch of interesting personalities, interesting situations, you know, and you realize your kids aren't so bad because, you know, you deal with grown-ups that are, you know, they're grown up, but they're still kind of kids a little bit sometimes. so you can deal with a bunch of different situations, I say, and it helps to, you know, kind of. I look at my kids and I say, okay, it's not so bad. I mean, I can deal with any type of situation.
Okay. Mir.
I like what everybody said. I don't think the military is going to necessarily make you, you know, a man. But what I think it does do, if you kind of line it up right, is that it affords you the ability to put your family in better positions. And right, I've been super blessed. Uh, my family got to go into foreign cultures that the normal military and most people, frankly, never get a chance to go into. Um, yeah, you got kids that speak second languages. That is super dope, and I think this is good. It's fun to watch when a little black boy speaks Swiss German and watch people's eyes just about fall out their head because they never expected him to speak it and speak it fluently. And so I think the military it definitely gives you the opportunity to kind of push your family further.
Right. And Martez.
Yeah, ditto, man. Everybody answers awesome. I didn't have kids in the military, right, pretty much after I got out, but nevertheless, like the guy said, military don't necessarily particularly make you or shape you to be a man, but it gives you overall, I would say, attributes. Exposure was one of the ones I think Dimitri said. Being exposed, exposure is pretty much everything. You're limited by what you're not exposed to a lot of times. So when I was younger, my stepdad was in the Air Force, which kind of propelled me to want to go that direction when I graduated high school. So I stayed in Okinawa, Japan, also too for about 2 years when I was in middle school, and learned a little bit of Japanese and the culture and things like that. So when I went to the military, I was further exposed. In my time I was there, and also to getting a time to be able to go to Aviano, Italy, and seeing another part of the world. I would never got a chance. I ain't gonna say never, but coming from where I'm coming from, and the background and things like that, I don't think my mom was gonna get a ticket to Italy. You know what I'm saying? No time soon. So just being exposed to a different world, different culture, different people. Um, in my high school, yeah, in Harvey, yeah, we had different nationalities, but it was predominantly Black and Hispanic. So being around, white people, Japanese, all this type of stuff, like I said, just the exposure, just being, different places, different spaces, different people. It makes me to be a type of person that can mold it into this any room, any conversation, any situation. So.
Okay. So of course, y'all can guess, and y'all just know why. Like I'm so heavy on the father stuff and the man stuff is because there's no other female on here. There's no other female here with me, so hey, it'd be easier for y'all to talk about that. But I have some things just written down that isn't necessarily so specific to like your time frame in the military. So we can keep talking a little bit more military specific, or we can just talk about some things that I have just written down that y'all can give you your Black male veteran opinion on. So which way y'all want to go? Take a vote.
I actually, if I can, I have a question. It's actually for Demetrius. Can I ask a question?
Yep. Panelists can talk to each other.
Yeah, hey, Demetrius. So I heard when you were speaking, you kind of spoke about like the propaganda, and I know, like, you got the Marines, and most of us are Air Force. You was Air Force as well, and I think we all agree. We know that each service, plays a vital role, and in serving the country. So if you can maybe talk to a little bit, and you maybe did on your call, but if you can talk to just a little bit, like, the difference between like transitioning out of the Marines and when you transition out of the Air Force, which how you were made to maybe feel kind of like that the Marines yeah, what I heard you say was that when you was in the Marines, it was like when you left, you didn't feel as maybe as valuable as when you was in the Marines. You know, how was that different between the Air Force? Was that just from you, you know, and your growth as a person and knowing that, hey, I put value in serving, but that's not who I am. It's just what I do. Can you like talk to that just a little bit?
All right, that was a multi-layered question, so I'm gonna try to handle that as best I can. Coming out the Marine Corps, you know, I actually didn't have a plan, right? So I was going to re-enlist, but they were combining my career field, which was 2841, which was ground radio repairman, with 2844, which is ground radio operator. So you don't drilled in our head that if you wear the antenna, your life expectancy in combat is 23 seconds. I don't have no desire to carry that man pack if you don't told me that I'm a moving target. So yeah, it's time for me to be up out of here, but that wasn't my original goal, right? And so I do the civilian thing, and this is gonna sound odd, but like, you know, I was working a job and I had a sick day. And then when it come Friday to get paid, and my check was like, I was confused because I was like, yo, I was sick. Like it's like, nah, but you ain't work though. So so you're not getting paid for the time you wasn't here, and that was, you know, a shock. But it was when I speak of propaganda, right? Because I went into the Air Force, and you know, Amir was integral in me actually making it in the beginning of my time, just because my thought process was we can speak bluntly. Look, man, the Air Force is not military. I know they put on the same clothes, and you know, sometimes they might march, but rank structure isn't, it's in place, but it's not really. It's more of a good old boy system, right? So where I came from, a E2 can tell an E1 what to do, an E3 can tell an E2, an E4 can tell an E3. You get what I'm saying, right? So when I come into the Air Force, 90 days removed from running my own shop in the Marine Corps, and I see a young airman whose uniform looked like he had lost his iron. Where I'm from, my tech sergeant don't need to talk about that. My E6 don't need to be bothered with that. This E4, I got this. Pull the young man aside, and I'm like, yo, so you know what's your major malfunction? Why can't you iron? And he looking at me like, yo, who you talking to? And I thought I was gonna get backing by my NCO. And he was like, I don't see the problem. And the mirror had to pull me to the side and be like, player, this this ain't the Marines. And I'm like, what you mean? Like, y'all see him? He look like Johnny Bag of Donuts. Like, what are we doing? And I had to unlearn what the Marines had taught me. Like, when you go through boot camp, they teach you the best shooter because all Marines are the best shooter. That's not true. You get in the other forces, you go to the rifle range, you find out, man, they can shoot too. Now the PT thing, I'll stand behind 110% because Air Force PT has been trash the whole time I've been in, and when I retired in 2017. But it's because, you know, the Marines are a war-fighting branch, so they take PT seriously. But there was things that you identify as a Marine that don't have place in real life. Like my ability to, you know, talk derogatory to somebody to get my point across does not work unless it's in the Marine Corps. My ability to put the mean mug on actually doesn't really help me in real life because I'm a black man and then I have a mean face. And, you know, I was in shape once upon a time in my life. True story. I was out the Marine Corps working in the city of Rochester. I am literally cleaning, like, you know, the part in between the sidewalk and the street where there's a little bit of grass. I'm cleaning that part. And the older black man came up to me, God bless his soul. And he goes, hey, young man, it's good to see y'all doing nice things when you get out. Get out of what? He was like, well, you know, I'm not going to ask you what you went in for. I said, electronics. And he was like, no. I'm to my prison. I said, what make you think I came out of prison? Well, you look angry. and you buffed. I said, man, I just did 5 years in the Marine Corps. And that joker looked at me and said, same thing. I was like, what? But I realized, like,
You know, he probably used to be in the Air Force. No, I'm just kidding.
but no, even now, when there's things that I have not experienced, I find that my default setting is still Corporal Jackson. Like, I want to try to assert myself as the alpha. And if I can assert myself as an alpha, at least assert myself in a position not to be challenged initially. And that's not healthy, right? I have spent decades, I'm 46 years old. I have spent decades trying to calm my demeanor so that I'm more welcoming. Like, I'm an elder in my church. Like, people actually try to come to me for advice now. And, you know, the first thing that people can say is, you're mean because of how this looks. So I've been trying to soften that. But we all know what the resting female dog face is. I had that. And I can still have that. You know, is people always be like, what's wrong with you? Why are you mad? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just watching TV. Like, well, you know, the Marine, like, okay, y'all got y'all boot camp pictures. All of y'all that was in the Air Force, y'all smiling. Man, they put on that Velcro dress blues and weep.
You ain't gonna look. You gonna stop there because we was not smiling in our pictures. Just because we were mean mugging like y'all. I know what my picture look like. I know what the mirror picture look like. It ain't no smiling. Now you carry on with your story. All right.
You do know I was stationed in San Antonio, right? You do know I seen what they was churning out.
Hey, they ain't got nothing to do with my flight whole book.
What they was churning out while I was there. The fact that they couldn't even go left, right, left, and had their boots hit at the same time, right?
Hey, you know what's crazy, Demetrius? They get the same retirement check as you.
They do. I'm retired from the Air Force. But this is like, when I say propaganda, like, to answer Robert's question, like, even right now, like, I have an unusual demeanor towards drill. And that's the Marine Corps' fault. Like, don't nobody really care that the left face wasn't crisp but me and other fellow Marines who, you know, like, I went to my brother went into the Navy. I went to his graduation. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. Sound like a herd of cattle. And no, I'm serious. Like, but the parents was like, this is beautiful. But that programming, that's propaganda, stuff like that. Drill don't matter in real life. Like, and people can say attention to detail. Man, read small print. That's attention to detail. I didn't get attention to detail because I know how to properly do a right face and sword drill when I was an NCO in the Marine Corps. But these are things that I find that I care about. Like, and my wife would just look at me like, yeah, and you say you're not still in the Marines. Like, we was watching Black Hawk Down the other day. And it just came back because that was required PME in the Marine Corps when that dropped. We had to watch the movie, we had to read the book because we're an expeditionary unit. And even now, I've been retired since 2017. I ain't been in the Marine Corps since 2001. And I still say we propaganda. Like, but my training, but the second part of your question, I'm talking too long. I apologize. But to the second part of your question, Robert, because Amir was here for this, like, Antoine, I was a walk-in exhibit at Whiteman Air Force Base. I'm sure you can count on one hand minus four fingers the number of former Marines that there was there. And Amir was there from when the time I got called out at PT. And, you know, there's two viewpoints to this because where I'm from, we can call out anybody doing incorrect anything during PT. It didn't matter your rank. If you can't do a push-up, I can call you out. But in the Air Force, it's like, don't embarrass people in front of people. even though I didn't see it as embarrassment. I just was like, yo, I thought if you can't do a push-up, why you leading us in push-ups? Like, find somebody else. And like when I'm being dressed down and I come to the position of attention and I don't speak, and I get in further trouble because I didn't speak. But in the Marines, if you getting dressed down by somebody, you come to position of attention, you shut up and wait till they done, or they give you permission to speak. They took that as disrespect in the Air Force. And it was just very confusing. And then once I got my bearing and understood that I had some remnants of the Marines in me, especially because I thought I didn't think I was indoctrinated. I really didn't. I consider myself to have been an average Marine. Like, I did my job, I went home, I PT'd, and rinse, recycle, repeat. I helped a couple of my contemporaries get meritoriously promoted, and I watched their careers blossom. But they were better Marines than me. Like, they lived this. I just did it. So I thought. But then when I go into another environment and they're like, yo, you're going to have to tone that down. And I'm not understanding what they mean. That's what I mean by propaganda. Like, boot camp is like 3 months, man. and all through that 3 months, they tell you why you nothing without being a Marine. And so whether you want to believe it or not, these are still your formative years. Most of us are coming straight out of high school, so we're still impressionable. And you endue people with that sense of belonging. And in that belonging, there's power. So when that's stripped away from you, now, what you got to do what most civilians do. What skills do I have? What's my aptitude? How do I have charisma? Can I relate to people? And the Marines don't build that. Like, real talk. The Marines don't build effective communication skills. The Marines will teach you how to follow orders. So if you go to your civilian job and you got a foreman who's like, yeah, you'll fall in line. I don't know how many of y'all have worked government jobs after you retire, but did you, like, just knowing you can negotiate your pay is not something that anybody that's been in the Marine Corps would think about. I'm being paid more than I ever seen. And then you get there and you like, the person with the same position as you is like, what you make? And they making $5 an hour more than you. And you like, what? It's like, you didn't negotiate? They civilians. They know that was how the game was played. And you're just like, yeah, I'm thankful for 3 hots in the cot. Like, I hope that answered your question, Robert. I talked very circumspectly, I believe, but I hope I got to the crux to what you were asking.
Yeah, you did. Thanks.
So I'm gonna take to that point of military turning into civilian. What is noticed on this side is that leadership, communication, everything that entails communication, the way you speak to a person, the way you use a telephone, the way you use email, all of that. And since we know in the Air Force that leadership and management are not quite the same thing, that is one thing that frustrates the heck out of me on this side. So if you all would like to speak to management and followership differences that you have or are currently experiencing, and I'll start with Martez.
Yeah, I think my experience in the Air Force has given me, I guess you would say, an edge in the workforce, in the civilian world since I've been out. But I think a lot of those qualities probably was already kind of ingrained, because they said, I guess leadership can be taught, but it's more so a born thing as well. So I remember going straight into the Air Force with my TI, picked me to be an element leader, you know what I'm saying, off the rip. And starting in that whole form, I never really been chosen to be a leader and things like that. So, and then just being able to have good fellowship, like you said, to be a good leader, you got to have good fellowship. So with the military ingraining to the level that we have had, I was in the Marines and having the experience that Brother Demetrius had, but we still had to follow, you know, orders and learn that, you know, saying to a certain extent that you probably wouldn't have in the regular going straight in a regular workforce. So that, and going to, I'd say any job I've had, I've always have rose to be either a team leader or a supervisor. There hasn't been one job yet that they pull me up. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I need you to one job, my last job, basically try to beg me to take the job, and I wouldn't do it because they just got too much rogueness going on. I'm not about to sit around fussing with grown people. So we're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? So they can't manage. I'm not getting ready to do all that. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so I think having good fellowship and being a part of something that is kind of disciplinary based, you know, and rank based, and understanding leadership, and even if you don't like your leadership, you still gotta, you know, adhere, you know, sent to a certain extent and things like that. So that has helped me out in this side of the world.
Yeah, and as you're preparing to transition, Rob, like how are you experiencing this whole management, communication, and everything?
Well, I don't really have that issue right now. I don't lead anybody. I don't have anybody under me. It's just me and my commander pretty much. So I don't have that dynamic right now. This is probably the best situation for me to be in before retirement, because it's almost like I get to taste the civilian side a little bit, minus all of the, you know, intricate details that y'all talk about as far as, you know, working in a civilian atmosphere and all of that stuff. But just not having anybody to stress over except my kids, my actual kids, the ones that I, you know, made. And just in business, it helps me too. You know what I'm saying? Like leading people that, you know, work with me and stuff like that. But that's pretty much it.
And BJ and Amir, y'all got it. BJ, you retired like how many years before Amir? Like 5 or something?
I was 2021, so it was at like 2.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah. Your specific question was like the differences, or as far as between management and
yeah. Just like how are
so,
you experiencing it? Because like that is so irritating to me, especially like the lack of communication, the ability to communicate and lead.
Well, I think for me, I think so. So in my job, I don't have. It's considered like a management role, but I don't manage anybody. So I mostly manage like equipment and things. And I mean, I find things aren't communicated, but I find people that's, I don't want to say poor leadership skills. I say it's a job that doesn't prepare their leaders to get better in their leadership skills. Um, and I think in the military, you had opportunities in ways where you did, where usually supervisors, a good one, would try to hold you accountable to help you grow. And you will usually want to grow as a leader. Um, Here, it's everybody just out for themselves. They just out going nilly willy, just trying to get promoted themselves. So it ain't even like, you know, where they trying to get better really in their role. If they are trying to get better at anything, just so that they can get promoted. And so that's what I kind of see. And I know Demetrius spoke about the Air Force and said it was like the good old boy system. I mean, out here, it's really like the good old boy system. It's like I basically told by HR and told by, you know, um, different managers, essentially that, hey, if you don't get promoted, maybe it's not that, maybe it's just that you haven't had time, right? And I'm thinking, what are they talking about? Because they're not specific, like about time, like in doing what? What are you saying I need to do better time wise? Because you're really saying I need more time in the company, not that I need more time to do. I just need more time in the company just so I can kind of have enough time for you to feel comfortable, or everybody else to feel comfortable. It ain't because I ain't better than these people, because it's not like you just putting the accomplishment on the floor and say, hey, who's better? It's like you just picking people because you work with them and oh, they was promised years ago to get this position. That's what you're really doing. So that's what I kind of see. So I had to call some mess out recently, even with my HR, because so you're saying the same thing they were saying. No, that's not what we're saying, because they don't want to sound bad. They don't want to get told on, but that's really what it came down to. What I see going on, people out here really just like the good old boy system and picking people who look like them and think like them and things of that nature. Not people that's going to challenge your thought process and challenge you and still have some good ideas. So I'm trying to stick that out, but I'm pretty content, at the same time. But it's just how you see it that way. You don't really have. I don't have the avenues that I think I might have had militarily, in some regards. Something we can just kind of do on our own and just say, look, we're gonna come band together. We're gonna show how this is not right and what kind of effect it has on us. But I don't see really a lot of leaders that are really trying to improve themselves and get better. At least where I work at, I'll say it like that.
That's on me. I think what BJ said at the end, right? I do appreciate the military giving us like the opportunity to learn how to manage, learn how to lead. But I think one of the most important things is especially as I moved on in my career, especially into the diplomatic world, and BJ kind of touched on it, and I think it's a force multiplier that we sometimes forget and we don't necessarily have in the civilian world, is that it's allyship, right? I know that I had allies across the base, right? And when I get to a job, I know that is one of the best things in the world, because I can be one of the greatest leaders. But if I don't have any allies that kind of help strengthen like a net, it's not going to work. So definitely finding other allies, whatever it be, across the organization and kind of talking to them, because sometimes they feel isolated too, right? You may find other great leaders within the organization, but they feel like they're not powerful. They feel powerless because they got nobody else to kind of help them. So if I know BJ in another division is doing whatever he's doing, I can call him up. He called me up, and I can talk him through some things. He taught me through some things. Now we got a much stronger position within the organization versus trying to go at things solo.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna give y'all that same option again, because it's 2025. We can talk just some regular, what's y'all opinion as Black men and experiences, or I could throw in some somewhat military related. We're gonna spice it up a little bit. Which way y'all want to go? Okay, we're gonna go for some spice. I'm gonna keep it in the military-ish. Yeah, no, it's military. It's military. We're gonna keep it there. And I'm gonna start with security forces. You answer first. So I'm not gonna have my opinion changed. And all of y'all have been deployed. So my opinion is not gonna be changed. I believe this Trump assassination is fake, because I believe too much into Secret Service and that they know how to do their job. Although we just got done talking about management and communication and partnership, allyship, we know those things happen. Like, it happens where a person doesn't relay a message. Got it. But if a dude is on the roof and he been spotted for more than 3 minutes, ain't no way Secret Service is gonna let him get off a bullet. So, security forces, you first. What is your opinion about the legitimacy of this being an actual attempt?
Oh wow, that's a good rabbit hole to go down. We're gonna be here. What time is it? All right. Yeah.
Hey, remember, y'all gotta go. But hey, this 2025, like, hey.
Yeah, me and my son, we going back and forth about this type of stuff, conspiracies or whatever the case may be. Our thoughts about it. me personally as well, I think this was something in-house, staged. I like I said, I believe too much in common sense first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw the video, hey, there's a guy on the roof. Hey, that's the guy on the roof. Hey, he's right there. I think he got a gun. He got a gun. And this goes on for this long or whatever the case may be. I just can't see that this is something that's fully legitimate. I think this was something that was formulated myself as well. That's just my outlook on it. Of course, for obvious reasons, you know what I'm saying? But that's just my take on it. I don't want to go too much deeper because it ain't too much deeper to go into. I don't know who did what and how they fixed this all up. That's above me and beyond me. But anything is conspiracy theories have ended the chat. Like I said, it's a rabbit hole. But hey, nevertheless, security forces will never. I'm leaving it right there.
And because I still have someone on active duty, I'm gonna go ahead and put this disclaimer there. So yeah, you go next because logistics. They have to plan the routes and all that stuff as well. So yeah, you next, Ron.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I think we just had the Washington Commanders come on base last year, and I don't even think we would have had anybody get that close to them with a gun. You know what I'm saying? So like for it to be the president is kind of funny. So, and my dad, like I said, he's part of security forces, so I like to ping a lot of this stuff off of his off him sometimes to see, hey, what you think about that? And similar to what Martez said, man, like, we go back and forth about it, but we're on the same page though. Like we both think it's kind of funny. I like the word conspiracy theory. People but I think it's truth to it. You know what I mean? Like when somebody deems it as a conspiracy theory, obviously some common sense is in there. So, and people try to discredit the common sense truth, I think. So the question is, do I think it's what would you say, a setup or inside job? I'll say I concur with those.
Say that. I just said, what do you think about it?
I think it's funny. I'm not funny like Cat Williams funny, but like funny like it's weird, Yeah.
Yeah.
They would have never got that close to the Washington Commanders, is what I'm saying. So.
Yeah. So, whichever when y'all BJ, Amir, Demetrius.
Yeah, I think the only piece I add in there is, I don't get into whether or not, I don't have much thought on whether or not it's inside job or whatever. I just think of it like this. When you're going through any election cycle or things of that nature, there's possibilities of something happening. Like even if this was, let's say if it was inside, it's still possibilities. Just people that really do, I'm sure, want to hurt him. He shouldn't have really even been having no rallies outside and nowhere, anywhere. Like, that's one thing. You want a place where you can screen everything, and if you don't have it, then you want to have a big enough area surrounding where people can't get to. Even the dude that was down at his golf course, down there that was hiding or whatever for that long, little stuff like that. It's just like, how do you miss that kind of stuff? So you shouldn't even be allowed to golf. You better go golf on a simulator this month. I mean, so I don't know. It's just certain things that just, I just think about, that, hey, it wouldn't have been allowed to do. I mean, it's enough people where enough advisors and things that can convince you to do otherwise for your safety, and not just your safety, the safety of everybody else that's there. So, that's why I just think about things of that nature. So, so everything is questionable because he shouldn't even be allowed to do some things outside like that.
Are you looking? Oh. No. I guess I'll speak general on it. I'll always go back and like, why does conspiracy theories surface? Why do these things even work, right? So if we say it is a conspiracy, right, for him to probably get more votes, right, you got to ask the question, why would a person go through that? Why would he do all of that work to try to get those votes? And I think it's funny that he would do that, but I think it speaks more to our population for a millennia, right? I'll take it to the church. If you go to the Catholic Church and you go inside some of their cathedrals, right? It's supposed to be, the message is supposed to be about Jesus, right? But when you walk in there, it's grandiose. It's beautiful. It's huge, right? So when you look at something like that, you go, why do they do that? They do it for the people, right? It works. It gets people talking. That's why these things happen, right? Every time, right? If I do this thing, there's somebody who's going to go for the theater. Humans like theater. It shouldn't work, right? Everybody should see through it, but it works every single time. And so I think it is a cruel mind that would do that, but also you got to look at society. We like theater. That's why. So he's only doing what works. If he did it.
If I can add to that, yeah, you're right. If you look at the aftermath of it, it was very performative, right? Like people loved the raising of the fist, and they talk about his ear and how heroic he looked with the blood. Theater, right? I mean, think about it. 50 Cent, he got shot how many times? We love that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just that whole frame of thinking that, if you've been through some type of dramatic thing like that, it propels you to some type of heroic status. And that's kind of what it looks like what happened with him.
I mean, right? Was it the Marines that raised the flag on the island? Was that did they capture that picture the first time, or did they reenact it to capture picture the second time? That wasn't the real flag raising. They did it. They ran it back so they can capture that image, and that's burnt into it. Now you see that thing all over the country, right? So we're all about theater. Like we don't have a public affairs person here, but they would tell you it is how it is the office, the presentation, all of that is how human society works. You have to put on some type of performative art, and it works every single time. We just watched both conventions when they had it at the DNC and RNC. They got all these actors and musicians, and they're doing songs and everything. And the Super Bowl is going to have this crazy halftime show. And we're talking about who should headline the halftime show. Where I'm from, nobody shows up for football games. They show up for the Battle of the Bands, right? We want to see a performance. That is our thing. And so we may look at it from the other side and go, man, that's kind of messed up. But in reality, man, we like it. And he is a reality star. So if he did it, he knew it would work against us. And so we should be like more self-reflective than anything and go, why do we keep falling for performative arts over and over?
Well, I think that goes into a whole nother question in this aspect of the results of the election, right? And if you just compare, the last couple of times where you look at where Hillary was running, as well as you compare her to Kamala, and you say look at the numbers, it looks like that this time was worse than when Hillary was, and Hillary, you can kind of be questionable with some things that maybe she did, in the previously. You can kind of, but I don't know how much you can question Kamala aside of calling her stupid and stuff, all those things. So the question would ask, as far as America is, did we run to somebody who was this that has these charges where they've been convicted of different things? Somebody you wouldn't even vote for your HOA president, right? Or wouldn't even want them to be your class teacher or your president or the principal at your kid's school, right? So did we run to that person, or were we running away from somebody, a woman being president? One, I don't think America is ready to vote for a woman. Secondly, definitely not a black woman. And so that's the sad truth that we're at. Even if you have, again, two candidates and, put their characters together, who are you going to vote for, right? And that's the sad truth. Personally, I've been independent for a while. I'll vote for whoever's a good candidate, or I feel like their agenda is going to match what I'm voting for, right? But when you vote in this sometimes, like, you either voting for yourself, and usually if you're pretty good, you just kind of look at your community to see how it affects your community. And so, I think people just I think that's why I look at the state of our country in that aspect of voting wise, not so much because of Republican Democrat, but put the two people, and it just appears that uh, America is not ready to vote for a woman, and definitely not a black woman. That's just my perspective on it.
I think we will vote for a woman, but she got to be murderous. She got to, and I know it sounds ridiculous, right? We talked about the Marines, right? About Marines being brainwashed or indoctrinated or whatever the words are, right? So are we as a society. And we look at Trump as being like some weird figure out of space, right? But is he? When we know the whole country was acquired through, murderous means, right? No one's gonna give their land back, right? We ain't about that life. And so you come along and you get someone who says the quiet things out loud. We don't ever get a woman who says that. If a woman comes out and starts talking crazy, she would get people behind her, and we see that right now, like a Carrie Lake or even a Sarah Palin. Like, people are following that, and if a woman starts talking more spicy, she would get a good bit of people behind it. But most women in this country, a lot of women in this country, I would say most, are not gonna talk like that because they're talking with decency. But there will be a woman who's gonna come along who's going to be just as wild as Trump. And I think you would see that there are a lot of people are going to follow that. It's just that all the women who've been running have been Democrats. And so they have had a particular political bent. But there is a woman on the horizon somewhere that's going to be ridiculous. And she's going to say some crazy stuff, and we're going to see really what the country's really about. We just haven't got her yet.
I think you're overanalyzing that one, Amir. I understand what you're saying, but my wife and I had this conversation because initially I wasn't going to vote.
Intel.
Initially, I wasn't going to vote, right? And my wife expressed her disappointment in me. And what I told her was the Democrats handed this election the moment gas prices got to almost $6. The moment housing went up $50,000-$60,000 for the same house, and they okayed it. Like, it don't matter what good you do after that. When you start affecting people's pockets in a tangible way, they're gonna get upset. And say what you want about Trump or whatever, one thing he has mastered is getting people on one accord. Like, he gonna put his people in place so that when he want to push something through, it's gonna get through. Democrats ain't been able to do that. So it's not whether the woman can talk spicy or not, it's can people who are not Trump and Trumpers get on one accord, right?
Yeah, we got facts, right? You can look at data. Right? I'm a data person. I know people are not going to do that, but that's what he was able to achieve. He got people to not look at data. The economies have always been better under Democrats. That is what the statistics have shown for the last 70 years, right? But he was able to get people to feel, of course, our everything is going up, right? The reason why everything is going up is because we got to pay for the war on terrorism. Mm-hmm. Who started that, right? We pay almost $700 billion on our debt every year. That's why your houses are going up, right? Mm-hmm. Because your interest rates are going up because we got to pay that debt.
I'm not saying you're wrong. What I'm saying is that happened on Democrats' watch. That gigantic jump happened. Obama got 2 terms for the simple fact he could point to, hey, y'all remember that recession? We ain't in that no more. I was president.
So let me
Like,
throw this
it was,
out. Ty, go ahead. No, go ahead. Let me let you finish your thought.
no, go ahead.
So to keep it kind of broad, because I like what you had said, and this was something that me and Amir talked about. So broadly, yes, he can get people on one accord. Mm-hmm. So as I said, we don't have new conversations in 2025. White people can get on one accord. It don't matter. And as y'all were talking about earlier about the theatrics and all of this. So when the dude, he made headlines, that's Luigi, right? Luigi's the one who shot the healthcare CEO. So, and you used the word hero. Someone did. Their people have become heroes. They did a great thing, and then all this money automatically gets raised, and all this crazy stuff. They are all on one accord. Whereas our people, we don't do that. I think that has been a part of our problem. So Kamala wasn't black enough. She wasn't this enough. And her husband ain't black. And she put all these people in jail. It was all this here stuff instead of everybody getting on one accord and ensuring that she got into office. I don't really think it's in addition to it being a Democrat versus Republican thing, just flat out, if you look at things that have happened, even looking at TV, white people will come together after something happens, ensure they're on one accord, but we don't. We still arguing and trying to tear each other down, and everybody got to do their own type of who's gonna be the leader, who's gonna do this, instead of there's one thing that we gonna make sure it gets done. So what? There was a point, but I forgot what that one sentence point is.
Yeah, we should make Rob a millionaire. That's what we should be doing. We should make Rob a millionaire. To your point, we should make Rob a millionaire, right? And we don't necessarily, like as a group, right? There's a host of reasons why. But we could turn a lot more people within our community into millionaires. But we struggle as a collective. And I have my reasons, but I'll leave it right there for further conversation.
So with that said, what you just said, so we can probably agree that money is more powerful than anything, right? Like economics drives everything, because the whole conversation has been about economics pretty much, right? So I think sometimes we kind of commingle and we kind of foggy the lens when we start talking about like what Tawana just said. Like when you said Luigi did what he did and white people can get on one accord, I think that's kind of a blanket statement in a way, because I don't think it's a thing that much of white people can get on one accord, because there's a lot of white people that go both ways. Like same with black people. I don't think either demographic is monolithic, right? So when even the conversation that we still have about the black community, I don't even know what the black community means anymore, because everybody is different. Like we can't say that everybody has to think one way. I think that's what we kind of failed. I think when we start realizing that the color that matters, right, because we all just finished saying it, is the green, that's where the power lies, because we just talked about Trump. What is Trump known for? He's powerful money-wise, right? So I think, to Amir, like what Amir said, if we support our people who are doing things like business-wise, whatever the case may be, make our people, lift our people up. I'm not saying me personally, I'm just saying anybody who's doing anything great, build our people up, and in that way we can have probably more leeway or more influence on the culture. It's we focus on a lot of entertainment, popular culture, all of that stuff. Kamala Harris, when she had Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi, all of them performing at the DNC, for what? She wasn't targeting me because I really don't care about them. So that speaks to us as, I guess, if you want to say the Black community, and what do we really value? Data. You know, we got to value data over, I know I just said that two different ways, data, over popularity or whatever the talking points are, right? Y'all see me, I joke about Umar Johnson all the time because, you know, but people put him such on a pedestal for what? You know what I'm saying? For what? So I just think if we value economics and green, we can go a little further than having to keep on saying white people support their people, because I don't think that's all the way true. Black people don't support, that's not all the way true either. So I think we just got to kind of change our perspective a little bit.
Well,
Well,
thank you
that
for
was
throwing in Umar Johnson. But go ahead, Demetrius, because I ain't gonna forget now that he said Umar Johnson.
no. I was just gonna say, Rob, that was beautiful. That was a wonderful soliloquy, right? And I agree with you to an extent, but small scale. Here's the difference, right? My wife has a baking business, and when she gets non-African American clients, and they see the prices, for the most part, they don't balk. When the Black folks see the prices, can I get a discount? Why is it called discount? Man, the price is the price. You paying for my ability, you paying for my time, you paying for me providing the resources to create this confection that you're going to eat and give me a great review about because I know what I'm doing. All right. In my personal training business that I'm starting up, I'm not charging what I can because I know I'm beginning. But even in that, when I give people a price, I still get people who want to tell me, man, can you discount that? I have. Maybe you should go do some research and see how much personal training actually costs. Not at the big box gym, but one-on-one, you come into a private facility gym, see how much it costs. And then ask me again about my rate. But for the most part, when it's not our people, and I'm not saying in the stereotype, I'm saying in actuality, what I've witnessed and what I've seen, it's our own people doing it to us because those are our first clients. Right?
I agree with you. I agree.
But when you get somebody from the outside, like, hey, I was referred by one of the few of us that paid the price. I was referred to you by them. They said, you're awesome. Hey, I noticed your price. Not only am I going to pay your price, I'm going to give you a tip. Like, I finally got my first client to pay my rate with no questions. My first session's always free. I'm like, give me a shot to show you what I can do. They even paid me for that session. I ain't used to that. I'm used to people trying to get over. And so I get what you're saying. The green should be it, but you only understand that when you're trying to do business as a business owner, right? I've never asked, I know y'all see the bald head, but back when I had hair, I never asked the barber, yo, can you discount that? This is what you do, the price. I seen your ability. If I don't think you match the price, I find somebody ability that can. But I'm not going to ask you to drop what you do. And I think that's honestly the biggest difference when you talk about the Black community, right? As far as monetarily and economically, we've all gotten accustomed to the hookup. But in order to be profitable in business, the price is the price. Because I got to get paid for my time, my expertise, and I also have to have the ability to grow it eventually.
Yeah, I agree with you. And when I say perspective, right? Because a lot of us live within proximity. I'm assuming of a lot. We interact more so with people that look like us, right? Am I wrong in that? That's correct. Okay, so what I'm saying is our perspective is shaped by what we see most of. So if you see more Black people and you encounter a lot of Black people asking for a discount, then your perspective, like we speak in black, like if that's just the black people thing. I've seen white people ask for discounts. You know what I'm saying? I deal with all kinds of different people. I've had black people that pay me more than what I even asked for. Like I had one guy give me way extra, just like, because he's tired of the perspective that that's what we do. So he was just like, hey, I'm gonna pay you extra. And I encounter that more so than the other now at this point. Less people ask me for hookups and discounts, and more people pay what I'm asking or more. So I think it's just perspective, though. That's what I'm saying. I think our people get a bad rap a lot of times because of stereotypes, which I'm not saying they don't exist or it doesn't happen, but I don't think that we own that. You know what I mean? Like, and I could be wrong, but I feel like we don't own that stereotype. I think we just see it more so with us because we interact with more of us.
Yeah. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I get what you're saying, but that's your experience. I'm speaking firsthand from my experience, right? Now, my wife has clientele that are consistent every holiday they order from her. They're African American. They pay the rate plus a tip. Yeah, that happens. But for every 3-4 of them, there's 2-3 people that are balking at the price, and those 2-3 are consistently us. And now you may be dealing with a better economic class of individual also, because that also plays a part, right? If they have better economic means, they're not as concerned about the price. But then you try not to be in people's pockets, but it's amazing to me how people can cry broke. But I'm like, those are brand new J's. It's amazing to me how people don't want to pay your rate, but then you go, but you just went on a cruise. It's amazing.
But what you're saying, right, Demetrius? What you're saying, right? I had a unique perspective, right? I got to do to be part of, right? I didn't do it. I was just part of it, of a massive multi-billion-dollar sale, right? So I got to see how we do things on an international scale. I was fortunate, last part of the career. So we were selling fighter jets to another country, right? This country is predominantly white. And by I say predominantly white, I'm talking about 99.9999. The only black is the period, right? It is, that's what they are. Did they ask for a discount? Yes, they did. Did every other country that we dealt with that was majority white ask for a discount? Yes. I see that, and I understand like black folks' perspective because we're trying to get up off the ground and get a thing going. But as Rob was saying, that's not just us. That's a human thing. This other country was like, yeah, we'll buy these particular fighters, but you're going to have to cut it by this. And not only that, we want to make part of the fighter. So you got to put part of your factories in our country. We call them offsets. You have to do an offset for us to buy this package. So the original price tag of this particular fighter is astronomical, right? I'm not going to name the fighter, but it is easily researched. And what they brought it for and the offsets that they got were ridiculous. And that's almost welfare. It's a discount. And so other people do it. But when we do it, it is kind of viewed as ghetto. When other people do it, it's viewed as a high business acumen. And so sometimes I do, like he was saying, it is a numbers thing. If you only deal with certain people most of the time, the numbers are going to look a certain way. White folks are doing it too. They just got the advantage of there's 250 million white people, right? There are only about 53 million black people, right? So we're gonna, right? The numbers are, so one side could be totally ridiculous, but it's enough of them that look like they behave in the, in a certain way. But we're so small, and we're only like 1 or 2 degrees separated from another black person in all of the country. right? So we feel whenever there's some people asking for discounts, a lot of us are going to have that story because we're kind of clustered around each other.
The problem isn't asking for the discount because I'm retired military. I ask for military discount everywhere I go. And if they say no, okay, well then hey, let me go ahead and give you my card for what it says on the bottom. I don't walk out the business establishment because they didn't have a discount. And that's what I'm trying to get at. And I understand both of y'all have said the same thing about the type of people you deal with. And I agree with you, right? And that's a part of building business is that as you become more affluent, your clientele becomes more affluent. I get that part. All I was saying is as far as the economics and trying to say, we need to invest in our own and all of that. Our own, like me as a business owner, my wife is a business owner, and other people I know as business owners, and God can attest to this because I've surmised that he's a business owner. You got to make sure your product is quality, right? Once you establish that, it gets frustrating when you've established quality that people still want to be like, hey, I want this quality that is this price, but because you're you, I want you to knock it down. And what I was getting at is those same people, though, I know you paid full price for that. You ain't get that on sale. You didn't get that at Ross. You know what I'm saying? So that's the part that bugs me.
Yeah. You look at what they have on.
Let me put a pin in there because Martez gotta go. So I'm gonna let him say a word. And I know BJ unmuted himself, so BJ trying to get in. But yeah, let Martez go because I'm gonna come back since he brought Umar Johnson. We gonna come back.
What was the original question?
I don't know, but you look like you wanted to chime in. I don't know. We just talking about black supporting. Oh, I had said that when something happens, like white people more gather together, they galvanize together to ensure things happen. Whereas more broadly, like we don't do that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Me and my wife got a business as well, so we see the same thing. Our community on that level, like Demetri was talking about. The willing and dealing and not valuing one another and the sacrifices that we make as small business owners to be where we are, because we don't have the big wholesale situation yet and all that. So the people don't take in consideration with one another of the same color on our end for some reason. I don't understand. And what I've noticed is that white person can be selling the same exact thing and we on their price. But I don't know. I don't know if it's the cousin thing in us. Hey, cuz, I don't know. But I don't know. But nevertheless, I think we need to shift that. We need to not take this into 2025 on no level. I don't think it's the whole gamut. Like you said, it's not all, because we have had several black people that gave us tips and have bought us out. Have been faithful supporters. In our business or whatnot. But hey, outside of that, I hit y'all in the inbox. But yeah, I got to go check on my dog. He in there crying and whatnot, and my wife not here, and that's his mama. So outside of that, I really don't have too much to say other than great show. Great conversation. Nice meeting you fellas, man, and great blessings, man. And y'all continue to do what y'all doing, man. Shine that light and doing the great things for y'all, doing for y'all family and stuff. I like to see that. That's what's up. There's
real quick, hey Martin, hey, link with me, man. I like to support other people's businesses too. And also, you from Jackson? My family from Jackson. We might be family or something. I don't know. So we with the cousin discount.
Got you. Yes, sir. I see you got some product or something. What kind of product is that you got back there?
Yeah, I do. So I handmade candles, body care products. All of that stuff, man. I also do apparel. They know I do a custom apparel, and all of that. I'll shoot you my info.
You got that back there?
Oh, you got the light box? Yeah.
Yeah,
you got to get the products right, man.
Yeah, definitely. So I saw peep that. But yeah, so me and my wife, She owns a business called foryourglorybeauty.com. If anybody wants to check it out, it's organic hair care line, from shampoo to conditioner to oil to serum to all that, and it's vegan based. So all healthy stuff to help strengthen the hair, keep the hair from breaking off, and all that good stuff. Help it grow.
For sure, I'm about to link with y'all, man, because I'm at my shop right now. I got a shop, so I'm trying to get into carrying other, people's products in the shop too, not just mine. So maybe we can work that out.
Yeah, I'll link up with you in the Facebook inbox.
For sure.
Thank you, Martez. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Y'all too now.
DJ on the clock. All right.
Yeah, I just want to add to this. I think this is a great conversation, especially from speaking just from own experiences as well as what we see as well, even internationally. I would say within America, I think one important part that we can't forget. It's kind of hard though. I said I was going to write a book about this some years ago, and then 2020 happened and everything. And the title of a book would be "The Lingering Effects of Slavery in America." And I think this is one of those things, right? Because as a culture, you came up, it wasn't willing and dealing, but you had to barter. You had to, hey, can you help me here to kind of make it through a lot? My grandma had 13 kids, and I recently just had went to my aunt's funeral. And thankfully, it wasn't where I remember being at funerals, man. You got to pass the hat to pay for the funeral, things of that nature. It wasn't one of those where that we had to do that. But I just know there's a lot of effects that's happened within our country that sometimes that are lingering from slavery that we maybe not necessarily think about. But I agree how it can feel. It can definitely feel like when you have a product and you feel like it's a great product, and you got people trying to basically cut a deal when that's your price. But I would say that once you establish, hey, this is my price, and not cutting a deal, and they try the product, if they like it, they're gonna come back. Now, if they come back and they still trying to get a deal, then that's why I would kind of question their motives like that, right? But I think once they like it, whether it's buy cakes or whatever products is being sold, I think they like it. They're getting trained. They come back. They know your price. So then they pay your price, and I think that's when okay, yeah, and then so. But I think sometimes just trying to cut that deal part is probably like that part is definitely be disappointing. But I just always think about what's the lingering aspects of it as well. Then one other thing though too, just to kind of I don't want to say throw this in there. I think we talk about like nobody talked about it yet, but we talk about like DEI. I think we fail to kind of know really the importance of it. Right, our country is the most diverse country in the world. We have the best economy in the world. Um, California and New York are the most diverse states in America. They have the biggest economies in America. You take the city, one of the biggest diverse city in the South is Atlanta. They have the biggest economy, and so I noticed when Trump was basically getting in office, you had some companies willing to come off of what they had promised they was going to do and things of that nature. We're talking about like DEI, things of that nature. That part's going to be important as far as making things as diverse as possible. And if we don't, this is where we have failed as a country. The most if we don't continue to go down this road. We know what no matter what the race person is. So there's people that have got great ideas no matter who they are. But sometimes when companies willing to try to step back from that, not acknowledge that, that's gonna be that could be tough. I just add that to the question and whatnot. And so I go there.
Yeah, Davita's got a point. That was a good point. And what Davita said, right? I think it points back to what's his name, Keith Lee or whatever.
Yep, that's what I wrote down.
We are notorious, and it is right. And I want to say it's everybody, right? Because he's definitely targeting the food, more the food industry. Come out. He's targeting the food industry, but our customer service isn't world class, or where it should be, or where it could be. And so, if we kind of tighten up on that customer service piece as well, because like Davida was saying, if you are at another, remember we were in Whiteman Air Force Base, and you took me to the catfish place. That dude gave us so much free catfish, it was ridiculous. And we're like, all right, we're good. He was like, nah. He was like, you're like family, right? It was a white dude with a very strong accent, but he was all about customer service. And I remember that dude strongly, right? Because he was just so gracious with it, right? And I was okay with spending the money. And that is one thing I think we could improve is our customer service, is not to be necessarily hostile to when someone asks for a discount, but find a way to kind of integrate them into the family of our business. Like, because I want you to come back and I want you to buy it. I want you to keep doing it over and over and over and over. And so how can we do that? And maybe that is an area that we could improve in.
I want to speak to that because I saw the young lady, I think it's Vita's comment, and Robert made mention of this earlier, right? I'm not mad at people asking for a discount, but he said when it's continual, right? If I tell you, if you're trying my product, again, my first session is free. My wife, if she chooses to give you a discount the first time because, hey, thank you for taking a chance on us, cool. But once you give a 5-star review, don't come back the next time expecting the discount. You knew what the price was. I showed you the menu price and said, okay, because you're trying us out, I'm gonna slide that. I did that. We do that because you gotta entice people. That's why they give out coupons. That's why you give out the track flyer. That's why you say, hey, it's first time barber, you get a 40% discount. Try me out. Let me prove to you I am who I say I am. But once I've done that, why then why are you expecting me to continue to give you the sale price? Sales in. And if,
all right, so let me
if it don't,
as a notorious discount asker, because I still be asking Rob for my discount, and I'm trying to have a contract so that I have a continuous discount. That's just me. Yeah. Don't mean I don't appreciate the business. So, oh yes, I'm gonna ask for my military discount. But in that example, if one chooses to leave the store, that's too late at this point, because you at the register. You didn't ask, and particularly me, you didn't ask this question when you first walked in. You asked it when you're at the register. So if you don't pay, you foul. You foul. You gotta pay, because you either touched my stuff, you tasted my stuff, you did whatever, or the person's stuff, because I'm the customer. I gotta pay you. So on that. 2, yeah, I've always been about shopping around for the cheapest thing, which is, if you watched my live, that's why I wasn't going to a beautician for a very long time. The person in the dorm who I know that can do hair, that's who's gonna do my hair, because I'm not gonna pay all that money when there's somebody who can do it for free or for $50 or for me to take them to work. I'm not gonna do that. Now, as you pointed out to Rob earlier, you said this is something that you learn once you become the business owner. And so I take it this is how Amir came to learn that thing. So majority of the things that I have learned and the mindset changes that I have been through Amir. But just me by myself, bro, I'm not no business owner. So if the first time a person gets a free haircut or a discount haircut, discount product or whatever, I know that was because you was trying to get me through the door. But if I am a loyal customer, at some time you doggone right, I'm gonna be looking for a discount. Because when you go to like the nail salon or whomever, they have those loyalty cards. Once you get 10 whatevers, you get another one for free. Now, you mentioned also the leave a 5-star review. Again, this is something that Amir's talked about. I don't really do that. So the majority of people don't even understand the value of that. They see their value in their word of mouth and their continuous support of you. So that's my response to all that you have said and what Rob has said.
Yep.
And I'm just waiting for y'all
And
to
I want
back to this Dr. Umar Johnson comment.
I'm gonna bow out after this because I don't deal with Umar. I don't know nothing about him. I'm uneducated on that. But I want to speak to what you just said, right? Because you said loyal customer. This means you return time and time again. Yeah, I'm gonna look out for you because you patronize, right? But like I said, and I think the problem that for most part is people undervalue or don't realize what goes into the price, right? I didn't come up with this willy-nilly. Again, it's my time, my resources, my expertise. All of that got to be paid for. I can't, my wife can't price her cake so that she break even. She got to price it so that she can at least buy back the products that she used to make the cake. At the very least.
The part that sucks about that, Demetrius, is like, as business owners, we understand certain things that the typical consumer won't and doesn't care about. Like, I learned that the typical consumer doesn't care about any of the stuff that, you know, like you said, like, I have to purchase my stuff at a cost that puts me below what Bath and Body Works can sell their stuff for. You know what I'm saying? But Bath and Body Works offers discounts like year round. So you have to differentiate. I had to differentiate myself in a way that ups the value on what I'm selling. So what I learned in business and, you know, going to school, all that, consumers put value on certain things. And that's really what you're hoping, that they see the value in what you're selling. And you get enough people to see the value that it weeds the other ones out. Because you're going to get, for lack of shitty consumers, right? Like people who just want a discount because they don't care about the value. They don't care. They'll just buy anything. So I would say, I mean, I wouldn't want you to undervalue. I'm sure you don't, but don't undervalue what you are giving the market. You know what I mean? For the sake of the people that are always asking for a discount. They're going to beat them anywhere they go. People still go to McDonald's with shitty service. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to always ask for a discount. Don't mean I don't value you, but I'm going to ask.
Yeah, I be getting on it. I'm like, yo, pay the people, man. Pay the people. But it is I think it's always a value. It's always a value proposition. And right, because I'm messing with, because I let Demetrius my boy, so I like messing with him. Right. So think about this, right? You said that the Air Force, right, is not a real branch of service, right? And you describe some things in there, right? And you're like, man, right? But and a lot of people feel that way about the Air Force. But I always ask you, what historic date did the Marines get attacked by enemy aircraft and they annihilated the Marine Force?
Say that again. I'm sorry. I was reading the comments too.
Yeah, I was like, what date? What infamous date was it when the Marines were attacked by enemy aircraft and they annihilated a whole Marine battalion?
Come on, man.
You can't remember it because it never happened, because the Air Force does its job, right? That's the value. That's the value.
Okay.
That's the value. But because that's what happens when we look at that's what happens within our own community, right? We don't necessarily see the value in another group because we have preconceived notions, or we believe a thing's supposed to be a certain way. And then, so therefore, the value that we ascribe to to stuff that's what's happening in our community, right? Like BJ was saying, the lingering effects of slavery, right? You said it earlier, when you're there cleaning up and he see a big buff dude, right, that's in shape, that means the value in our community is that means you came from prison.
Right.
It didn't mean you came from something great, right? So we have all of these preconceived notions that we have to deal with our particular clientele, because we are servicing our own communities, that when we maybe service other communities, we don't have to necessarily have to deal with it. That's what happens.
Right. And to both of y'all point, because Rob, again, you said this, and Amir, you just said this. The affluence of your clientele typically changes that. Like, I get what Tawana is saying, because my wife is a bargain shopper. She couponing all of that, right? But when it comes to supporting people's business, like people we know who do business, who do hair, who do makeup, who create t-shirts or things of that nature, right? When it's their business, my wife actually tampers that side of her because she's a business owner. And, if you, okay, like Tawana, Rob, so you asking him for a discount, he not taking that out of context. Y'all peoples. But, when we're establishing this business relationship, I don't want, it's frustrating when the people that know you try to take advantage of you, because while you may ask for the discount, if he don't give it to you, you're still going to get his product. What I'm talking about is the people that know you have a quality product, have referred other people to you, but still, because we people, man, we people, but you asking me for this extravagant order, and I'm talking about my wife's business. You asking me for this extravagant order, and you want me to knock 50% off of that?
But that happens in every. That's every community. It's just that we see.
But they know my wife gonna throw something in for them anyway if they pay full price.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's in. What I'm saying is right, because like Rob was saying, it ain't a Demetrius problem at all, right? You're delivering. I know you're delivering a high standard of service, right? That is just a consequence of these are humans, and there are humans that are going to do that no matter what. It's just that the fact that they are just black to you. But if you go to a country town in Georgia that's full of white folks, guess what they doing? The exact same thing right there. And you're like, this person has a high skill, and they're cutting deals. They're doing all kind of things. No one is paying the full price. But there's few people, right? You got probably about 30% of the people who are actually holding down the other 70%, right? That's asking for discounts. That's all of these cultures have it. It's just that with black people, it's just less of us. So we don't get enough, and the way that we're tiered, right? Like you said, our clientele changes as our profits go up, right? And our business gets bigger, right? But think about what you're saying. In the black community, not as much, right? Because we don't have a lot of layer between. Yes, we have a few billionaires, but they're only like 3 or 4 black billionaires, maybe more than that, in the United States alone, right? You look at white people, they're well over 300 billionaires of white folks. And so they got this huge stratification. Black people, we don't have a huge stratification. Even on our deployments, if you're an airman, you might actually hang out with the black chief on the deployment, right? Because we are so much tighter, right? Versus you look at other cultures, the white chief is white chief, and that chief is on another. And right there, they got distance between the bottom and the top. We all hoop together. We lifting together. We are doing everything, and so there is the degree of separation between us is different, and it's why we feel it a little bit different. It doesn't mean we're behaving differently. It is that it is closer to you than maybe another group has to work with.
You know what's crazy? It's like people with a lot of money, like the more affluent side, they're cheaper than a lot of them are very cheap. That's how they like. I've seen people with money because when I used to do this vendor spot, and it was a guy that was next to me, and he used to hand make quality wood products like tables, all that. You talking about making it from your hands? I watch people come in there with money and ask that man for a discount, and I'm like, because it's just the devaluing of, or I won't even say they devaluing it. I think they want to save as much as they can and spend as little as possible. I think that's just the mindset.
Senators
They do
in
the same
Switzerland.
thing.
Yeah.
Senators in Switzerland. I'm gonna tell you, right? These cats come flying in, right? And this is Switzerland. Everything is expensive. They want a Swiss watch, but they come over to you and go, "These are senators. They are some of them balling. I ain't gonna call them out, but some of them are balling, and they get their stipend from being a senator. They come over to you and go, "Hey, you think you can get a diplomatic discount, and then we buy it, right?" Bro, you can buy 150 of these. I'm up here on per diem. And I mean, this is Switzerland. I'm living off of per diem, bro. What? I got to pay real price. These jokers want diplomatic discounts and they want us to work it. And yeah, I've seen it over and over. Individuals who are worth a lot of money, right? Because I've been in several political appointee spots. These jokers are balling. They look for discounts. It is ridiculous.
I don't want it to make it seem that I'm against people looking for discounts, right?
Yeah,
because
I don't
again, with me being a personal trainer, and this is for the people listening that are commenting too. I have clients that I know their economic status. I know what they can and cannot afford, so I lower my rates for them because my goal is to get you healthier, right? Now, I've also told them, as your economic position improves, my price will go up, right? Because I'm still doing you a service. What you're talking about is tens of thousands of dollars on a watch. But even if they give that discount, they're still making tens of thousands of dollars on that watch. So who cares?
But you said it.
But
to make a Swiss watch, right? People don't understand when people say a Swiss timepiece, right? We're not talking about like Swatch. We're talking about a Swiss timepiece.
Precision.
The amount of work that goes in that's the cost of that watch. So who cares? It doesn't mean, right? They can take a $10,000 hit because their watch costs $110,000, right? But that's relative to the work that they put into it, right? That 10, it's still right. If you live in Switzerland, that $10,000 discount, bro, you need that money. That's why our cola in Switzerland alone was $3,800 just for cola. That's it. We had our own airmen. We were getting paid an airman, bro. Like that was ridiculous. And so we had to and we gave that money back to the Swiss economy. So it's relative to there. The people put in, like you're saying, people put in the hard work. A discount is a discount is a discount. To them, it might be $1 million. To you, that might be 30-40% of the cost of your product. It's no different from them.
All right.
I don't know if you already do this, Demetrius. I put them on a sliding scale, like you said. The people based on their ability to pay, put them on a sliding scale and up that price as they're able to pay it. That's what I do.
All right, I'm taking y'all off of business just a little. We still gonna be talking about business. So my response to Naylor, Rob saying why people put Dr. Umar Johnson on the pedestal. I don't know if I put him on a pedestal, but I am one of them people who believe and follow what he's saying. Going back to a post that you made some time back in regards related to his school. This is where
there's no school.
This is where his appearances, his talkings, his discussions are more so centered around changing our mindset because he's a Pan-Africanist. So it's more about how we are supporting each other and how we as a collective do not understand the importance of keeping our community together, which includes supporting and buying Black, which includes, if you're going to say you support Black, then you should be creating Black, which hence is the school, and then also marrying and creating Black families. So all of that in which he's saying tied with the whole Keith Lee thing. I ain't know nothing about this dude till he did the DC review. If we as a people don't know how to give great service, and we think that the hookup or whatever is supposed to be good enough, when someone from the outside comes in and they can see whether you got rats or it's dirty or your customer service will suck, your restaurant shouldn't be on top. Now, Umar Johnson saying support Black. One is supposed to take one of these businesses that has poor customer service. Take your time, the ability that you have in knowing what is good customer service, what is good leadership. Can you sit down and talk to that person and mentor them and how they can better rise their business as you continue to come and support them with your money? That's one thing. So it's more about like our mindset. So, you'll go date the white girls, the snow bunnies, go do all of that. But once you come and you create a baby and a family, we got to keep that thing Black. Okay, one more. The school. Say the school does not exist. Okay. As I watch him more and more, and I don't know if you're still watching and listening to him. Mm-hmm. His whole thing is that he is trying to do everything completely Black. Completely. So if we don't have the Black plumbers and all the people, the electricians and everybody else who has the facilities people, if they're not all Black and they are not looking for a discount, or as he has shared, some people did come in, but they laid the flooring and all that stuff was horrible, it was poor, so they couldn't open on time. Should he then, just to make sure that his followers don't think he's fake, that he's lying or any of that stuff, should he now let a white bank help him? Let a white business come in and help him? Should he Walmart parts, let's say, Walmart parts? No, he's trying to keep it all Black. And as Amir had talked about earlier, that if a white person put a piece in your business, they want to have a say-so in your business. And that's not what he's trying to do. Go ahead.
Okay, so let me ask you this. When did he start taking donations for that school?
Shoot, bro, I don't even know. It was a while ago. I do believe that he said like 2004, possibly.
A long, long time ago. Dinosaurs were roaming the earth. So what I'm saying is, my thing is, I think where it becomes dangerous is that people aren't information-based, right? Yes. We are emotional-based. So as you mentioned a couple of times, he's trying to do everything Black. That appeals to our love for our people, right? And then we just dismiss everything else, right? I met the guy. I've been there. That's why I joke. I'm not like emotionally. I just be joking, but I'm serious because I like to look out for the people, especially people that's doing it the right way. When somebody shows you that they don't have business acumen, you should not trust that person or those people with your money. So the fact that he's asking and begging for people to donate for years, right, and has yet to show an itemized plan for said funds, that should show you that that person is not to be trusted with your money. And so just because somebody talks pretty, right, which he does, just because he can Google some stuff and regurgitate antiquated thought processes mixed with some fact, mixed with some stuff that he just decides to say, I think, and he's very charismatic, right? So that's what I think brings people into his world. So he can say a bunch of fact and a bunch of BS, commingle it, and somebody will say, oh, I love the fact that he's trying to do something good and positive. Because most of us can agree. Like, initially, I loved the idea. I love the idea of what he was trying to do. But when I broke it down and looked at it, and when you listen to what somebody says, you have to really, especially when you're talking about money, right? You have to look at the character of that person. You have to look at the expertise of that person. I've seen a lot of interviews that he's done where he's shown that he's not the type of person that you want in charge of your money, number one. And he doesn't, like, if I was trying to start a school, right? I would, and Amir wanted to help. And I know that my expertise is in one area. Your expertise is another area that can help with the school. I will welcome your help, right? He doesn't welcome anybody's help. So that stuff that he says about, I don't get viable help from plumbers, that's BS. Because I've seen people ask him if they offer to help. I've seen people who have functioning schools offer to help. He doesn't want people's help. Why? Because if he continues to push the narrative, I call it a victim mindset, right? He pushes the victim mindset. This whole thing of liberation, right? Which I don't deny that, that's a thing. But when you keep people in that mindset, it keeps putting him on a pedestal as if we need to keep giving him money. Money for what? I've been to the buildings, right? That was when he was saying it was the HVAC system, that all we need is the HVAC system and we're up and running. Every time it's something different. The inside of that building looks like The Walking Dead. Why aren't you showing itemized things of what you're going to do? What this much money's going toward furniture. This much money's going toward this. He just has paint days, right? The painting is the last thing you're supposed to do. It's still ceiling tiles missing. You can see the sky. The floors aren't done. The bathrooms look like somebody beat it up with a steel pipe. So that's what I'm saying. I look at the totality of the situation. Yes, he says some things that I can agree with. But that's how people get taken advantage of. Because I was on that end too. Because like I remember when I first met him, I don't know if y'all saw the Facebook post. I was like, I don't see why people don't like the guy. He seemed pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But then when I went back and did further research, I'm like, oh nah. Especially because I know I would never do that. I would never ask for y'all's money. Hold on. So has anybody ever taken the time to fact check what he's saying about the black professionals is not performing up to par? The plumbers, the whatever. You're just taking his word for it because he talks pretty. You know what I'm saying?
Sound like research. That's why I do.
And people don't want to do the research. It just sounds good. So like, and if you know, like up to date, he has so-called leaned on white people to do the stuff that he said he wasn't going to do. And oh, by the way, who did he purchase the buildings from? Was it black people? Or was it white people? It can't be all black if the buildings are from black people. Mm-hmm. So like I said, it all just sounds pretty. And then when you say certain things, like I'm all for us being for our people, but there's certain ways to say things. Like, for example, if a white person was to say things in the way that he says it, it would be deemed as racist. Why does he get a pass?
I don't think he gets so. He gets a pass from who though? Because he is also called a racist and a divisionist and all of that.
He is. Like from black people. That's what I'm saying. Black people be like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like if a white person was to say the things, and I think this is what stagnates progress a lot of times too. Because if you look at the common sense part of the so-called school, right? He got them raggedy buildings, right? How's he gonna pay the teachers? What's the operation cost? How's he gonna get the kids to and from the school? Like I remember after the block party, which I was a vendor at, that's when I met him. And there was like, it sucks because like you see the people that have excitement in their eyes about this thing. Like you rally people and get their hopes up. Some of them kids that he promised that was going to go to that school, I'm pretty sure they're like they can't even go to the school now because they done aged out. Like I seen this little boy begging, like, and the mom's like, yeah, he get to go to the school. There's no school, and it's not even their foreseeable future. And if you're working on a project, wouldn't you be at said project, making sure said project is done? Where is he at right now? He in Ghana messing with some stripper girl.
Right.
He in Ghana right now, parlaying and living his best life instead of where he's supposed to be, making sure this thing is done. And if he was on task with it, but it just doesn't make business sense at all. Like, just think about it business wise. It doesn't make business sense. So like, I just don't like, and it's not just him personally. It's just anybody that deceives people and takes money out of the Black community. Because you can't be for and against the Black community at the same time. And our biggest resource is our money. So like, he's taking the money from people. Hit the Cash App, hit the Cash App, hit the Cash App. Well, where the money going? I don't have to tell y'all where the money going. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. That is your responsibility. So I would tell anybody that supports Umar, I would never just tell people, hey, don't support Umar. Cool. If you support him and you like what he's saying, cool. But hold him accountable though. That's it. Just hold him accountable. Ask him where the money at. And don't accept something pretty as an answer, because he never gives a straight answer where the money's at. I know I'm going on a tangent about
No, you. So the transparency part, right? It's real, and I think when someone says they're going to service the community, right? When you go into I am going to service the community, I think that should be that's a blanket requirement. You got to show us where the money is going, right? But we should always be that way, right? That's part of it. We should get that into our personality, because I'm like, don't limit it to Dr. Umar, limit it to all these jokers. Yo, hey, if I give Congress my money, I want to know what's that, bro. You say you're going to help the community, right? If you tell me, right, that's what a politician, you're in politician state. You say you're going to do X for the community. I want to be able to click on a website and go, I want to see invoices. Right. I want to see whatever it is that you're doing, so it's clear. Right. And I think that is, you kind of hit on it. That's been the failure of any liberation movement. Right. It's the lack of transparency. Right. You can talk sweet and you get the person, people are going to show up and support. But then people become disillusioned because they don't see anything, right? What's the progress? What did we spend this money on? What's going on? And we can see you off in Ghana, like you said, or whatever, living your best life. We're like, hey, time out, brother. Like, we're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you showing somebody your income. Like, so we need to see where it's going. But I think with Dr. Umar has an advantage and a. One second, get it locked up. Dr. Umar has an advantage and a disadvantage, right? To talk about Black liberation, we have to kind of say Black, right? And that's going to make you divisive. But if I talk about American liberation, that's a dog whistle to white people. So he is penalized for that, right? When they say, hey, make America great again. Why? Just why? But yeah, everybody says that, right? But that's what's wrong with us, right? There's no middleman. It's always going to be a middleman because no one person has all of the skills. It has to be something between a person with the ideas and the community. You need people to execute whatever that individual's ideas is about. But a little bit of it is I don't like saviors. I am not a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of saviors.
I don't know why we do that.
Bro, every time when someone says they're a savior, I go, ooh, time out. You right up. All my flags go up. I go, bro, what do you want? We all should be our saviors, right? Like, why you, right? Did you hear something that I didn't hear, right? And they were like, well, I'm special. I'm like, time out, brother. I was like, wait a minute. Now we're not playing this game right here. And because saviors get us in trouble every single time. The black community was hurt when MLK was killed. Well, it's because, of course, he was a great man, but it's how we gravitate towards saviors that people can rob us of our momentum. And I'm like, hey, again, support a Rob, support a Tawana, support a Amir, right? If you are supporting your community, then you don't have to, we don't need saviors.
Yeah.
We get into this every single time. Like we don't necessarily need saviors, and he gets into it. But yeah, I was saying that earlier, but it's a penalty in America to talk about black liberation, because when people hear that, they hear divisiveness. But I know when someone says "Make America Great Again," bro, you dog whistling. So you can say a great American, right? And we go, American is apple pie. Why not American as sweet potato pie? American as every other pie that other groups, but you don't say that. You can't say those things. So it's a disadvantage, right? Other people can get away with saying the exact same thing that he is saying. Black people are always gonna get penalized, right? You can say Chicano culture, right? And people are like, oh, the Mexicans, that's cool. Yeah, you can, yeah, that's fine. And they're not gonna penalize it. Black History is already a scary month because everybody go, but why you gotta have Black History Month? Why can't I have White History Month when we have Irish? We have German, we have all these other months, right? But when they hear Black History Month, the moment it becomes, right, a resistant. And I think part of that is even within Black people. We don't like the fact that liberation may take us collectively getting together. We don't like it scares us ourselves a little bit, right? We're like, man, I mean, we're gonna have to work together. Right, so he's saying things that other Black liberation people have said before, right? We know, like you said, he's said it a million times, but I think a bit of us, and we are afraid of it a little bit because white people have already stated, in order to be great, we're going to have to be with people that we are alike. European Union is a perfect example of that, right? NATO is a perfect example of that. Other groups do it, but when we say it, it's a penalty to it.
Now, would you say now on that point, right? So like, I think part of the problem is specifying to the masses, what does liberation mean and what does it look like? What are we liberating from, right? You have to have organization in that way for people to understand what you're saying. But when you start commingling liberation with don't date white people, or I have a problem with Black people dating white people or marrying white people, then your message about liberation gets lost. Because now what you're sounding like is the same white guy that was like, don't you date that Black boy. I want to keep white people pure, right? Because that's what it starts to sound and look like. Most people, like especially Black people, it's almost an unwritten rule or unsaid. A lot of Black people are gonna date Black people but for the ones that don't want to, let them do what they want. It's not affecting the bottom line, in my opinion. I'm not a data person. I'm gonna say it both ways, data person. But in that regard, right? But what is the problem with Bronny James dating a white girl? What is the problem with this NBA player A dating said white girl? That at that point, it's like, why are we splitting hairs in that way? If enough people want to date, if you're Black and you want to date Black, cool. If you don't, guess what? When I wake up in the morning, long as my check is deposited on the 1st or 15th and my bills are paid and we're still able to patronize each other and make progress in a certain way, I'm not about to sit there and worry about and say, don't date white people. Like that is where he loses the liberation message. And that's why I said, I feel like it's
Think about it,
conflating
so
issues.
I'm gonna put it to like the Air Force, right? And I talk to people about this all the time because it's hilarious that we have this particular provision in there, right? You cannot fornication, not fornication, but adultery is illegal in the military. Why? Right? We never think about it, right? Why is it illegal?
Yeah.
Right? I can drink, I can smoke cigarettes, but if I stray on my spouse, I can be kicked out of the military. Why? It is an age-old issue that humans have been going through, and it is inheritance, right? And it creates an inheritance problem for any group, right? Hey, now this dude's got, because I got to take care of his kids, right? So if he has all these kids right now, these people got claims to his inheritance. They get all these military benefits. Things can go out of control, right? It becomes a cost prohibitive activities, right? So I got to find a way to go, nope, you can't do that. And it is a thin line to like thread. What is if Bronny dates a white girl, right? Whatever. And this is the real culture war, right? If Bronny dates a white girl and he has a kid by her, right? His inheritance is going to go towards that kid and possibly the white woman, right? And so what people see is our upper echelon of individuals who end up dating outside their race. It's a transference of wealth. The wealth is not coming back to the Black community. And it's happening on the other side. The other side is saying, yo, I don't want you to date this person because we want to keep it. We want to keep that money in this community. We're Jewish as well. Judaism at its core functions that way. Right? So everybody is trying to keep resources within a community. They don't care if the dude in the project dates a white girl. They're not, no one ever, we're like, whatever, let that dude do whatever. They're just going to have mixed kids. It becomes a flag when the billionaires and the millionaire class are dating it because they know that money isn't coming back into the Black community. That is a concern. I'm not saying I don't have the data to verify it or not, but that is no one likes to say it, but all groups are that way. Trump is saying, I don't birthright inheritance, birthright, whatever, for anyone who's born in the country, you get automatic citizenship, right? He's trying to end that. There's a reason why, because they're looking at a cultural death. And so they're saying, hey, whatever we got to do to protect the culture of America, that means suppressing minorities, that means pushing other groups away, that means limiting immigration. Globally, this has always been an issue. The Romans faced this. The French wrote about it, right? The Irish wrote about it. The Irish blew up the British, right? The Irish were terrorists in the eyes of the British because the Irish did not want to have a cultural death. They did not want assimilation. Hanukkah, we just went through. Hanukkah, it's the story of not this, they tell you about finding oil in a temple. What it was is that Jews were under cultural pressure to assimilate to Roman and Greek culture, and they fought back. That's the real story. And they retook the temple and they killed a bunch of Greek and Romans. So this has been an age-old problem that people are trying to protect culture. I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
Right.
I'm just saying that it's a thing that people are speaking to.
Yeah, no, I get it. But what I'm saying is back to the Umar, using that and weaponizing that emotion for people is wrong, right? Because for me to say that so you can fall in love with me and then follow it up with donate is wrong. Like, that's messed up. Now at this point, I'm just catering and pandering and then getting your money and giving you nothing back. Like, nothing.
I
back.
agree.
So,
I agree. I wish he would stay as a social worker and a psychologist. I wish he would deliver more of that.
If he just spoke and said things that people like to hear, that would be one thing, right? Like, I get it. Like, because as a speaker, like, for one, I think the guy's brilliant. I think he's very smart. I think he's very intelligent. I think that he's very well-spoken. He's a great orator, right? But he's also very manipulative, and that's the problem. That's where the problem comes from. It's like you're using all of these gifts that you have. You get charismatic. You're using all these gifts that you have. You're using all these gifts to backdoor the community that you're supposed to be helping. And then using excuses. All those things, Tawana, you said, those are nothing but excuses that he uses. Oh, I can't find a plumber. I want to use all black people. You can't tell me there's not black plumbers out here that will do a great job, but he just doesn't want it done the right way. Like, and people aren't asking him for discounts. He's not paying nobody. If you had the money donated from the people, you itemize that and say, this is going toward plumbing. This much is going toward electricians. This much is going toward landscaping, right? That would be the smart thing. So for me, it's like, once somebody shows over time that they can't do it right, I'm not going to keep on saying, okay, well, in 10 more years, he'll get it. I know 10 to 15 years have passed, but maybe in the next decade, he'll get it. Like, no, because we don't ever give anybody grace like that. Nobody. If I asked y'all for some money right now, I told y'all that I was about to build a fill in the blank. And then 2 years pass, and y'all see me on vacation, but this is still ain't built. Y'all gonna be like, "What's the status on the thing we gave you money for?"
I disagree.
Like, oh, it's coming. Don't worry.
Hold on, y'all.
I disagree. I disagree. Because we do it. We do give people grace, right? I think that's our problem, right?
Yeah.
Groups of people can have been promising us forever and ever, and we just keep poured into it, right? So I don't know. I don't know if we would individually we might be mad at you, but collectively we've been behaving this way for a long time.
But that speaks to a bigger problem. That's kind of insanity, right? So that's a whole nother conversation.
Yes, bro, we are insane.
On a micro level though, like at some point people gotta hold, like a lot of people like to say it's judging somebody. I don't think it's holding people accountable, because if I let you borrow $2,000 because you said you only got it, but then next month I see you in Turks and Caicos, I'm gonna ask you, how did you afford Turks and Caicos, but you ain't paid me my money back? You know what I'm saying? That's accountability. I'm not judging you for going on vacation, but excuse me, how did you just told me you was broke. How did you?
Yeah, if I'm investing in you, I want something. We should want, that's investment, right? That's the whole point of investment. If I invest in you, I want something back.
Yeah.
And you know the worst, like she said, he's perpetuating the idea that black people are not good at business. And that sucks, because there's a lot of great people out here doing great things. It's like all of the attention that he gets for being a pretty speaker should go toward people that's actually building. There's people that's actually doing the work that he thinks that he wants to do. You know what I'm saying? There's people that are actually doing it, but we start getting mesmerized by I want to do it all black, only black people. In reality, how many of us do anything all black?
That's right. We trying to get there.
We live in America.
That's right.
Killer Mike did it. Remember,
but not all black
Killer Mike
providers are there.
Killer Mike tried it.
That's
Remember, he
saying.
did it, and he couldn't do it. But I think,
because you know what the key word? The key word is sustainability. People overlook sustainability. How can we get sustainability with whatever we build?
So you just that's the Black liberation issue. That's it. You just said it. That's why it never works out, because in order to have liberation, in order to have an empire, you have to have, we're going back to, if there is no logistical trail, right? An army wins because of logistics. And if you don't have a logistical trail, you can't become independent. You can't become a major power. You can't do any of that. The first thing China established was logistical trails throughout its soon to be empire. Right? What did the United States do? It designed the logistical trail, right? Why did we send African American Buffalo Soldiers to fight Native Americans to go west? It's so we can put railroads down, right? And phone lines down, right? And roads down, because nothing works without logistics. And I think we discount that piece. Like you said, we may gin up the fervor to do a thing, but then what, right? So if you do find 10 Black plumbers, you need 10 more, and you need 10 more, and you need them, right? There's a lot of stuff that comes in it. And so I imagine what happens is he's not paying, he want to pay people probably just for the work, but he's not paying people in total. Like, hey, I got to bring all this equipment in. I got to bring in teams of people. I may have to move there for a year or two to get this job done. You have to offset that cost for me. And it's like, nah. Well, it's not going to work.
So this what
I bet you was what Demetrius was saying.
Yeah. So
I bet you was Demetrius saying.
Yeah.
Demetrius. So I heard something in what Rob is saying. First, I'm just gonna mind y'all the time. Y'all the guess, but yeah, this is the precedent for the new year, and I know I'm not gonna have another one this long. But
we gave you a bunch.
It would be nice, though. It would be nice if people actually stayed on and let me have longer episodes this year. Anywho, so as Rob was talking, this is what I heard being described. I heard Donald Trump being described. So you said why we be letting Umar off the hook and all of that. You completely describe Donald Trump when you describe Umar Johnson, which takes it to a different point that me and Amir have talked about often, is about two things can be true. And even other conversations that I have wanted to have with R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, and all of them. I hear what you're saying, Rob, because Amir has said these exact same things. Like, show the proof, show the proof, show the proof.
Show the proof.
I don't too much focus on the school and the proof of the school. What I pay more attention to is just what he is saying about the community, and when he speaks as a psychologist, because I am not a psychologist. So when that's the part that I focus on. So with the equivalency of Donald Trump, when people only focus on one or two things and they don't care about the rest, dude, has he not shown us that he's went bankrupt so many times and all these other things that shows he's not a businessman? But he get up there, he says his agenda, he's gonna do this, it sounds nice. That's all I heard. I heard you describe a Black Donald Trump when it comes to the business of what he is getting into. But I know that you just pointed me in the chest.
But check this out, Tawana. Have you thought about this part? Have you thought about this part also? He speaks very much about the family dynamic, right? What is his family dynamic?
Well, I mean, according to what he has said, but to straight up answer you, I mean, yeah, he's single. He's a single man.
He has 2 baby mamas and 2 children who he has not raised.
Correct.
So
and
how does that
I have heard him speak about it. I've heard him speak about it and why he made that decision and how he feels about it today.
But no, that's what I'm saying. So you're going by what he said. Of course, he's going to say that, right? To make him so, but if you look at the facts, like I've seen a lot more videos and a lot more proof and evidence that shows that he's a deadbeat father, right? So if you're a deadbeat father, I'm gonna say allegedly because it's YouTube, but it's not alleged though. But if you're a deadbeat, you're not gonna talk to me about being a father. I'm sorry. Just like if you're 600 pounds, you're not gonna tell me about how to be healthy. Like you're not gonna do it. And that's what I'm saying. So like I think it's a lack of, for a lot of people, it's a lack of knowing the information and just latching onto what he has said, right? Because what is he gonna say? I'm a deadbeat dad. What deadbeat dad gonna say that? They're always gonna make an excuse.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You poking me in the chest louder. You're poking me in the chest louder. That I have paid. Like two things can be true. So I don't really just care about the mindset that he is trying to get me in, and that he is a good psychologist. So just like I said with the whole R. Kelly and Bill Cosby thing, yeah, he is. Now that Cheyenne, don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Well, no, wait. Let me ask you this. I just want to ask you, how is he a good psychologist?
You said good,
what makes him a good psychologist? No, I'm asking you what makes him a good psychologist.
A good one. Okay, now I don't like you asking that question. Okay, let's just say he is very knowledgeable. How about that? He is very knowledgeable. I don't have the evidence of these things that he has
knowledge
said.
Without application. Knowledge without application is what?
It's something I heard.
And where is he applied said knowledge? By the same stuff you can get from Google. Most of us know what he's saying anyway. You don't need him to tell you half the stuff that you've heard that y'all already kind of living that.
But I'm not a psychologist. There is a difference between a therapist and a psychologist. But yes, you are true. Do I have access to know this information and learn it? Yes, I do.
Well, I would say this. I would say this. In his right. I'm not defending him. I'm speaking more like the black community, right? One thing that he speaks about, and it kind of feeds to why we have some of the issues, right? And like you said, we do know this, but maybe you don't understand how widespread it is. But we don't advocate for African American boys and girls at a school level the way that we should. Right? We don't do that. We don't advocate for African American boys and girls at a criminal
the criminal level.
This criminal justice, right? The way that we should go a lot harder than what we do, because once what's driving, like we say, what's driving part of the economic woes of the African American community? Well, one of it is job access and education. Once you go into the criminal enterprise, once you get into that game, that we just made life a lot harder, right? We talk about it and it pops up every time someone dies or whatever, gets murdered by the cops, right? Or whatever, gets shot by the cops, and we talk about it for a little bit, then it go away. But understanding that the moms and dad, I'm sorry, but you gotta be down there at that school squawking. You gotta be on your kid squawking. Because if not, it's this dream of liberation is never going to happen. So he advocates for that. Is he following that? Well, probably not. But in defense of the message, not the man, right? We should be doing the things. We shouldn't necessarily need him. But if he is saying it, I don't think we are doing it at the level that we should be doing it. Right.
Yeah,
and that's
I'm not
that's
saying that
the message independent of the man, right? He's a flawed individual, right? There's no disagreeing how he's going about it, but the messages that he is given, we have to, that is a real message. He may be using it to get money, I have no doubt, but that don't mean the message is not a real message.
So let me ask you this: Do we do the same thing for Trump, or do we throw the whole man away in the black community, by and large, or do we chew the meat and spit out the bones with Trump?
I think a lot of people have said they're going to chew the meat and spit out the bones. Right? We should.
I think.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
we should.
We should.
No, I agree with what Vita said. She said, I think sometimes you have to take the message and leave the messenger if it's important. True. And that's why I said that's where the danger comes in, because people commingle facts with BS.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
so everything you said is on point. You should advocate for your kids, this, that, and the third, right? But he's not the only person saying this. This is not profound information that he's delivering.
Correct.
So
this is Michael X has been saying this, right? Marcus Garvey said it. MLK said it, right? A lot of people. So yes, he causes. Unfortunately, I think he causes good black people to stray away from the message because it's him saying it. And I think that's a difference between the black community sometimes and the white community, because they're taking Trump and all his flaws. Bro, we know that dude a criminal. We know that dude got bankruptcy. We know he had all his flaws, but he's not gonna, that was not a penalty for him to shut up. It was only an endorsement for him to speed up. Right. And so he's not the only one.
White people, but I know hella white people that don't rock with Trump. That's what I'm saying. So like, I don't think it's a white community thing.
No,
it's a lot of black people that do rock with Trump.
But when we say community, right? We're talking about a core group, right? You are always going to have outliers and in other sub communities and other communities outside of that, right? I'm a Southerner, right? My idea about things is a little bit different, right? So I'm Gullah Geechee. I know a lot of black people that don't rock with the world of the Gullah Geechee, right? To say you're a Gullah Geechee 30 years ago meant that you were country, right? And so someone said, "Oh, you want to Geechee? You speak Geechee." So I know a lot of people don't meet, but I still have a community, right? Trump still has a community. You're going, of course, and I go, we live in a bubble, right? Just like I had to tell like white people who are in the military, of course, me and you are bros and stuff, because we live in a bubble. And if you live higher than DC, right? We live in a bubble, so you're gonna find different white people this high. I ask people, go to Savannah and see if you feel that way, right? Go to certain parts of Florida, go to Alabama, go to the red states. They talk to you sweet as sweet tea, but that's not what's necessary in everybody's heart. They got a different idea. Those are communities.
So what drives the community's perspective, though?
It's cultural relevance. It's cultural relevance.
Right.
They're saying it. They're right. And I go all the way back to the Civil War, right? Those proclamations that they made. Just read them. Why did Georgia secede? Georgia told you we are seceding from the Union to establish and maintain our culture, and part of our culture is enslavement of human beings, right? Read South Carolina. It is that blatant, right? They told you why. We do not want to change our way of life. Trump spoke to those people. He said, those people over there have been distorting your way of life. I'm here to go give it back to you. Right? When someone says that to the black community, we don't we almost agree sometimes with it, right? Because the way that people talk about the Black community is our community is defined by entertainers. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying what is popular.
Yeah.
Entertainers define our community. Criminal pastors define our community, right? Those people run our community. Athletes run our community, right? Our community is not ran by professionals.
Fake leaders. Fake leaders run our community.
Right. Who's the tech giant in the Black community?
Who's the tech giant?
Yeah. What Black tech giant do we have?
This up the other day. I can't remember the name of it, but I just looked up the other day because I had to put it in a post. But I can't remember what it is. I know it's owned by a Black. What's the name of it? I know you know.
Yep. We about to say Raycon? Ray J? No.
No, not Raycon. I'm about to Google it. I'm going to Google it.
You gotta Google it. I don't know. What?
Well, while y'all looking up stuff, when Rob said, why is people like listening to Umar versus like the regular small person who's doing this every day? I do think that it is compartmentalizing and giving accreditation to things, because he is a psychologist, like period, point blank. And yes, he does lose people. It depends on the audience, right? So if he's talking to an audience that's down for Pan-Africanism and just support all Black and all this, they're going to pick up that message and they're going to take that message. When he is talking to his mental health professionals, that's the message that they're going to get. They're going to pick up with and they're going to run with it. Now, when you're talking to either one of them, you throw in the business of the school, because now you're talking business. That's where it's going to get messed up, mixed up, no longer validated and whatever, because that is not your main stay and your main bread. But as he said, I don't know if it's true, he has said he is the most sought after intellectualist for speaking engagements. Don't know if that's true, but I do believe that that's the answer to your question. Because say, if it were me, I think if I'm talking to certain people about being a military veteran, talking mental health, and talking being a parent of multiple kids, that's going to come across and be delivered and accepted differently, especially once I can show that I have a degree. I do believe. Now, your question about the proof about his background and him being a deadbeat dad and, you know, all of that other stuff, people can only have to question and see how well of a parent I was or how good was my military record and all of this. But I can prove that I got a degree. So when I say this to you, you got to believe what I'm saying and trust that it's valid.
I'll give it more weight.
That's no, because you know what that does? Because that gives credence to anybody who wants to scam people to just get a degree and then run your scam because I have a degree. No, you got to show fruit. You got to show the fruits.
Who don't, like Cheyenne Ryan, who don't have a degree, but she is apparently one of those people that you're talking about who is putting in the work. Apparently, I don't
pay her no mind.
Say some more. Say some more about that, Rob. Where you about to go, Rob? Say some more.
So what I'm saying is, because you have the credentials, that's only a step in the process. I think after you have the credentials, you have to show and show proof, like the fruits of that degree. You can't just run around talking about I'm the most sought after. Where's the fruits of that? Just because we see you running around spouting out a bunch of, have you ever heard anybody else say he's the most sought after? No, him. He's the only one. Just like when Trump be like, I had the biggest rally, the biggest this, the biggest that. I got the big, right? Just because you say it doesn't make it true. What does everybody else say? What is it showing? Where's the proof? Where's the proof? To have a degree, like I don't use my degrees as the stamp. Like it gives me credence, it gives me a level of coverage, right? To let you know that I kind of know what I'm talking about. But now I have to go a step further and show and prove that I know what I'm talking about, because we live in a show and prove society.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter if you're in the NBA. If you're not in the NBA hooping, you ain't gonna be in the NBA for much longer. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
the
how
answer
one
to your question
I
was
agree.
worldwide technology. I'm sorry.
Worldwide technology.
Worldwide
I've heard of
technology.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, so he hinges on that. I have a degree.
I'm just thinking
Good
about
job.
me. I'm thinking about, because you still answered. I'm still answering your question. Why is he put on the pedestal? So I think that plays.
No, I agree with you.
If that plays a
No, I agree
part,
with
because
you.
yeah, I have not done it. That's what I say. But when you're talking, that's what I heard. I heard a black Donald Trump. No, I have not done the research. No, I cannot. I don't see the fruits of the labor that he has said. Like, no matter what, whether we're talking about the school, whether we're talking about the work that he's done in the community, none of that. Because just like you met him, he came to attended a black social workers conference. But I do think that yeah, like I said, you just pretty much just kept poking me in the chest. I'm not even. Do I have the access to look up the same information and learn it myself? Yes, I do. But the mindset of the Pan-African.
He says he's the most requested.
Well, that's what he said. I don't know. But the mindset.
No, I'm saying the most requested scholar in America.
Not black intellectual.
Yeah, something to that effect. He said. But
what does that mean?
Whatever it means, he shouldn't be it, because I know a lot of black intellectuals that should be number one. But it shouldn't be. I think Rob has pointed out, it shouldn't be. It should be a bunch of intellectuals.
Oh, that's where I was getting at. That. So I can look up and learn this information too. And there are people out here doing the work too, because I have heard from other people, both in the mental health field, in the black community, strength, all of it. But Lord, see, I done forgot again. But something that I done forgot again. It'll come back to me as soon as you start talking.
Hey, real quick.
What was I saying? What I say? What's the beginning of my sentence?
I Googled the most requested black intellectuals in America. His name is not on the list. So where does he get that from?
You know, and side, when you were talking, where's the proof? I guess, there really isn't the proof. There is just a proof of repetition, right? He is repeatedly on these same platforms.
The Breakfast Club.
Which I don't watch, but, but just,
Those platforms
the same, platforms. But if I go looking at mental health platforms, I have only experienced him in one, not a whole lot.
One.
Who's on there, Rob? Who's on that list?
You got Jonathan Capehart, Cassie Chandler, Dr. Tarika Barrett, Dr. Wendy. I don't know her name. I can't pronounce her name, but African American speakers leading the way in 2024. He's not even on here. I'm about to put it in the chat.
Yeah, I would imagine there are. Right, I don't even know if that's a statistic that someone captures.
It's really not. It's really not. It's all based on look. It's all based on you know how who is it dang. What's the magazine that always puts out the richest people or whatever?
Oh, Forbes or whatever.
Forbes, right? It's like that.
Yeah, I told my son
like
that. I said that the richest people in the world are not on that list, right? Because they're so rich, they can afford not to have their name on the list. And I was telling them about the family of Saud, right? You take the family of Saud, right? Because they accumulate their wealth a little bit differently, right? They may be the family itself. One person may not be richer than Elon individually, but it's like 40 of them who are only percentages below him, but they act together. So that wealth together makes Elon's wealth look like child's play because it's just Elon, right? And so, look, I look, people hate Jay-Z, but Jay-Z said a word. What's better than one billionaire? Two. Right. And so if you acted on your own, right, this is a whole family and they got like 40 billionaires, right? That's cute with your little billionaire, right? We're accumulating millions, right? Like we can get after if it costs that, right? And so, yeah, he's a hustler. That's really what it is. He's a hustler, and he uses hustle language. I see it when certain pastors do it. I see it when certain politicians do it. I see it when all these groups see it. I go, bro, I'm not mad because you are hustling and you're trying to get a pay, right? I know what you're doing, right? And there's a bit of it. I understand. Politicians are in a game of selling dreams, right? No politician, other than maybe Jimmy Carter, actually go out there and go build some stuff, right? Outside of that, ain't nobody building nothing, right? And so that's just that's the game that they're doing. So I see Umar he's in the politician class. And sometimes, right, I don't think we're necessarily adept to understand that, hey, he is pitching, but there's work that you got to go do on your own, i.e. go do your own research, i.e. go you're going to save yourself, right? I'm not coming there to save you, right? You are going to have to save yourself. And I think we miss that, right? We like the fact that there are saviors that show up. But I mean, even like the message of Jesus, right? Jesus didn't say, hey, I'm going to make pastors. He said, pick up your own bed. Right? That's what he said. He didn't say to go talk to the rabbi or to the pastor. He didn't say any of that. He said, you, my friend, have got stuff that you got to do. And we forget that and we kind of sit back for someone to come in and swoop in Delta Force and rescue everybody and get us off into Black liberation land. But it is much more to it, and that part of the message is usually silent.
Yeah, and so I wrote it down so don't forget. That's what it is. That's what it is. At least for me, is changing my mindset, because his platform is bigger. Like, it's bigger than mine. It's bigger than whoever these everyday people are. Because when he talks about connecting the school to prison pipeline, right? We started talking about it earlier, but then we kind of, we went on to other things. When he talks about it, he helps connect all those dots together that people don't understand. It's more than it sounds pretty, but understanding the mental health impact of that, the educational impact of that, the institutional impact. He ties all of that in every single time he talks about it. Every time. So, do I need him? No. But it changed my mindset, because I was that parent where I'm going to come and I'm supporting my child. I'm here to support my child. I do care about everybody else, but understanding that I got to be there for everybody. Not everybody's mom can come to every soccer match, every whatever else, and then that's why I joined the PTO. And these are the things that he talks about. Then once I am also inside of the school as well, being a school therapist, and I am now seeing it is true about the 3rd grade. This is when all the mental health referrals start coming in. And they're coming in for behavioral issues. Sometimes it's at home, but sometimes it's because that teacher ain't managing her classroom correctly. Now, luckily, I began this part of my career in DC. So I have been to a school with Black and white, but I've also been to an all Black school. And it was the same. It was the same. So when it comes to Dr. Umar Johnson, when he speaks about that, that's where I'm just like, you know what, I'm with him. If he builds this school or not, I'm still with him, because I am trying to get parents to understand too the importance of you being involved. You have got to be involved, but you have also got to not let the institution run you and your child. Your child isn't necessarily bad because I see it. And then boom, all the other roads that it leads down to, right? So in all my therapy sessions, I'm asking people, you know, are you talking to your doctor? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Do you understand how all this ties together? I can only do that on a one-on-one, one-by-one. Whereas his platform is bigger, and it does suck that it sometimes gets lost because he talks about that school. But the platform of him speaking on that, I do not believe it can be touched. The people who I have seen talking about it, you can't really touch that.
So here's my question: where did he get that information from? I'm not discrediting the information.
I'm sure he got it from the school, whatever the websites are called. When you be looking up school data, that is there, and then research like Amir would do, because I don't do that. If it were this many children in, let's say, DC, since that's where we're at, this many children in
I'm
DC
not disputing the information
or expelled. No, I'm saying I'm answering your question in a long-winded way. But because, like I said, this is the type of research that Amir would do. Like, I'm giving all credit.
Right.
Like, Amir does this, I don't. So, first half is probably also what you're saying. This is what Umar Johnson is doing. So, all the children in DC this year who got expelled versus this is how many arrests of that demographic were made this year versus these were the laws that were put in place. And this is how many people voted this year. That's what he's doing, and then presenting that to us. I know I am not about to do that work. Amir probably would, and I would say, all right, tell me what the information was.
But how do you separate? Because you said, and I don't know how you meant it when you said it, but you said I'm with him on that, right? So now it's like if he's right about that, he's got to be right about everything else he's saying, right? So that's the dangerous part of it.
Yeah.
It's like once you're hooked in that way, I can now sell you a bridge, because now you don't dispute my information. So anything he says, like I've seen him like recently on another, what I say, I call it antiquated talking points, right? He went to a college, and he was telling those kids about conspiracy theories about Bill Cosby, R. Kelly. The reason they're locked up isn't because of it's because of What's the relevance of even talking about that? Especially the kids who was just born yesterday, right? Like, perpetuating that makes no sense. And then now, like I said, because you're hooking people. Oh, he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Well, what's his basis on that? You know what I'm saying? Like, where's his facts on what he's saying? That's dangerous rhetoric, whether it's true or not. I don't know Bill Cosby situation all the way. Like, I never saw the documents. I wasn't in the courtroom. So I would never go on record saying why he's locked up, other than what his lawsuit says or whatever, right? But when you go beyond that, it's irresponsible. So when somebody shows that they're irresponsible in many aspects, you have to question said person. Yes, they may be able to go research some knowledge and give it to you. Cool. Thank you for the knowledge. But I can't trust you though. So you should not be a trustworthy person at that point, because that's how cult leaders are made. That's how Jim Jones was made. That's how all of the cult leaders throughout history were made. He doesn't seem to be any, if not much different.
Yeah, you pointed
That's
that
all
out.
I'm saying.
Yeah, you did. You
And if we
pointed
care
it
about
out.
the black community, and if we care about the black community, we have to be people, men especially, we have to stand up against people like that and say, whoa, 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 whoa. Chill out. Because we want the betterment of our community and not the counterproductivity of it. Because that's what keeps us on the treadmill. When we keep people like that at the forefront, instead of just us coming together, like that's why for generations we keep saying, oh man, we behind. Well, because we keep on falling for the okie doke every single time. Every time. So like when I say something bad about Umar, people will be like, oh man, you just hating on him or whatever. Okay, cool. But guess what? I'm not taking money from you though. Guess what? I'm trying to uplift the black community. Where's your support though? You rather support somebody that talk pretty. And it's not just me, it's anybody that's doing something that's tangible in the black community, that's actual, instead of just telling you something nice. I can go Google some stuff if you want. And then I'll be like, yeah, the school to prison pipeline is da 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 da, right? Like I can do that. But what is my ultimate purpose at that point? That's all I'm saying. We gotta weed people like him out of here. Like, get out of here. I don't care how cute you sound, because that same information you said, you can get that from somewhere else. I promise you. I promise you.
Yeah.
Because like in the PhD program, right? In the PhD program, even in the master's programs, when you write something, when you have a paper or whatever, you have to have
your sources.
Your sources, right? Umar don't give sources. His whack book that he ain't got no sources in that book. He said he is the source. That made me question. Like, I don't know.
Well, he got more than one book apparently. I got one. Now you're gonna make me have to go look and see if there's sources in there, because I swear I saw sources in that book.
You saw sources? Did you see sources in the Black Parent Advocate book he got?
I swear I did. I'm gonna have to go get it. It's upstairs.
Go back. I bet you say Umar.
So remember, right? You're gonna.
I'm gonna go look it up, because
and y'all gonna read it. Y'all gonna read it differently, right? That's what's gonna happen, because you're gonna see that book, right? Yeah. Because she's that's the field that she's in, so she's gonna see things that maybe that right to the other a lay person may not necessarily understand. Because I wish black people would understand this, but a lot of people don't understand the 13th Amendment, right?
Yeah,
we run into that all the time. And I go, hey, time out. In fact, the 13th Amendment is super relevant right now for California. Yeah. Right? Who's helping fight those fires? Most people don't know that. Yeah, California uses inmate firefighters. Like, right? Yeah, and I'm like, California is not going to stop its prison to pipeline maneuvers because it's profitable, right? Mm-hmm. It comes down to money, right?
Yeah.
You always need a workforce that you kind of tell what to do. No one ever gives. So even Umar can say the best things in the world, unless you find a way to come up with an economic substitution for cheap labor, our criminal laws are going to be similar at no point in time. And no one likes to hear that, but it is true. Of course, they're going to prey on poor communities. They need it. Look, Whole Foods uses prison labor. They are experts in prison. that run those farms, they are prisoners. And
sadly, that's how America's set up.
That's and from the beginning. I posted this before. This should be a known thing. America brought into two groups of enslaved Africans. They brought in the general workers and they brought in the skilled. Right? Yeah. Because classes. Europeans, yeah, they had classes. Europeans did not know how to grow tobacco. They did not know how to grow sugarcane. They did not know how to grow rice. They did not know how to grow cotton. They did not know how to grow indigo. They brought all those skilled individuals in, plus the individuals who were going to work those fields. So they've always brought into two classes of people. They needed a skilled class and they needed a laborer class. That has always been America's setup. That's the only way it works for capitalism. Right? Elon just made that argument. Elon's made that argument already. Elon's like, bro, we need engineers. I don't care what you say. We still need engineers coming into this country. Y'all might not want immigrants, but we do need those immigrants. And so unless you find a way around that, right, we don't understand how our legal system is tied into our economic health. Mm-hmm. Right? We talked about prices going up. Trump spoke to people about it. Yeah, white people might get together, but I don't mean they ain't all wrong too. Those groups of individuals who voted for Trump, those jokers are just as wrong, because you're like, look, if you're going to do any kind of economic, you got to understand what's the drivers behind it. Of course, oil-rich countries manipulate the American market. That is a thing. It's been going on for a long time. You mess with, that's why oil CEOs haven't been mentioned in politics in how long? When last time you heard, bro, we about to run up on BP? You ever heard anything about that? Right?
Not in recent or ever memory.
Not recent memory. So if oil prices, gas prices are so high, why you ain't call them out? Because you know you better shut your mouth. Right, like you ain't messing with them, and so we don't understand. Sometimes I feel like right. I might be wrong, but I don't think we understand that. We don't understand the game.
No,
right?
We don't. We don't understand the game.
There's a game that's always being played. Capitalism is real, and it needs to work a certain way, and there's going to be manipulations of the market globally. Right, I got Bitcoin, I got crypto. I know how that crypto goes up, right? It ain't going up because of some tangible item. It's going up off of the hopes and fears of other people. That's what gives it its value.
How do you get people to move? Fear, right? Fear.
Yep. Every time.
That's why we need people like you, man. We need people like you, more people like you. That's data driven. You know what I'm saying? Fact based. That's why people like when I get in conversations with people, they get mad when I pull my phone out and start Googling. I don't want to say something from a point of not knowing. That's why.
Yeah, like why won't we have the same set of facts? Like why are we arguing? Right, this is the facts.
Yeah,
like
let's establish a baseline.
Yeah, let's establish a baseline. I think that is that haunts the country a lot of time because everyone wants to have their own set of facts or whatever. And like, bro, we can't have a conversation. Like, I understand that why people wanted to vote for Trump. Whatever. If you want to vote for him, I got no problem. But just like you said with Umar, if we're gonna put our energy behind this person, I got to see the receipts. If you say this is it, let me show me the data. Why is it so hard, bro? You show me some numbers. You show me your sources, and I go look and I go, bro, we do got a problem. I might get behind you, but if you go, wait, trust me, I go, oh no, like you said, I feel like you might have put me in the cult.
No, because see,
before you go, you right. You right.
Oh,
there ain't not one. There's not a citation page in here within the way that the paragraphs and sentences are reading. He really doesn't even have to sort the site. He does not even have to cite the sources the way that the sentences are written. And when he mentions something, is like where you can go look it up yourself. So like according to the federal law, and then he lists what that law is, the Disabilities Education Improvement Act, and then just like spits a fact. So, okay, now you yeah. But I don't know if this is supposed to be like a handbook or whatever, but yeah, it's not written correctly. So the same way that I did Cheyenne Bryant, I should be doing him because his sentences do not have the last name of the author, page number, and a citation page.
He's smart.
He's right.
Smart. It's a loophole. You know what I'm saying?
He's a hustler.
But hey, he's a hustler. Hey, you know what? I'm like anybody. Yeah, he's American. I'm not completely mad. I'm not knocking his hustle per se. It's just that it's counterintuitive to the black it's not helping the black community. You know what I'm saying? As he says it is. That's the point. If he was just hustling, just to hustle like on some other stuff, all right, cool, whatever. If you was, I don't know, something harmless, I guess. I don't know what harmless hustling would be, but harmless hustling. But I can't say that I'm doing one thing and be doing another one. That just doesn't make me a trustworthy person.
I mean, you can hustle, right? But you gotta, if you're providing some type of value back to the community, right? That's part of it, right? You like, hey, it's a little bit of wink, like, man, I got some
little give and take.
Little give and take, like, hey, these pills might give you muscles, or they might not, bro. Right. Okay. But some people do get muscles off of them. But like somebody gonna get some muscles, not everybody gonna get them. But right, that's
called capitalism. Everybody, people do it every day.
Yeah.
If you watch the commercials, right? They have the thing that says, I don't know how they come up with the names. It'd be like Inflexa. It'll heal this and heal that. But side effects are your head might fall off, your legs might fall off, you might bleed out of every orifice of your body, blah, 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 right? That's capitalism. That's they hustling. But
because they show you a dog jumping and a butterfly flying and a lady like, you're like, you playing frisbee. Is death really that bad? I mean, like,
people mountain climbing.
Yeah, mountain climbing.
I kind of want it still.
Yeah, I got psoriasis, but I'm gonna go climb a mountain now with this medication.
Right.
like, man, come on.
But
man.
Hey,
what is this? It's people hustle. That's
I'm not trying to turn you off of Dr. Umar though. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's your cup of tea, ride with him. Just don't give him no money though.
Yeah, I haven't donated anything, but still, you made the same valid points that you made about him are the same points that I made about Cheyenne Bryant. So you are right. This book has no citation page.
I'm here to help. That's it. I don't want no money for it, but hit the cash app.
Hit the cash app. But if you can do something.
But still, at the end of the day, even though there's no citations, it still is, like Amir has said, it's about steps, right? He may be one that's putting out the clarion call, and we need to do the work. But yeah, you're right. Like, to look up this same information.
That's like the people that write books with Chat GPT. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They hustling.
But I told everybody.
Doesn't make them expert.
Every time I'm like, all right, here's the thing. Like, I do this. That's my field of work. The only way that Chat GPT and any other large language model works, and it goes right back to America. Chat GPT has a lot of information in it. It's because they pay Kenyans $2 an hour to data tag. I go, no great structure has ever been built without cheap or slave labor. So if you see it awesome, if the moment you get this thing somewhere along the line, there's some atrocities or slave labor, something. It's always like every time, like if it's kind of trash or whatever, it like, man, this thing kind of whack. That is because it wasn't used as slave labor. But if you get it and it's refined and it works, this thing is 1,000,000 feet high. right? Qatar got 90 built like 14 soccer stadiums for the World Cup when they did it. They're like over 3,000 or some wild number, right? I might be wrong, but it's over 1,000 dead workers built buried under those buildings. And those workers were not Qataris. So I'm like, every time you see something great, right? There's a bit, or we perceive to be great, it should cause us to step back and go, man, what's the game? Right? That's the Wizard of Oz. That's a lesson from the Wizard of Oz. Pull the curtain back. That dude's a fraud back there. He's back there doing stuff like this, making stuff move around. Like every single time, I'm like, that's my lesson. I go, if I see it magical, I go, show me the human.
Pull the curtain back.
Somebody hustling. Somebody hustling. Like, oh, I got these new shoes and I'm selling them for $15. You got shoes that just as, bro. Yeah, somebody doing some stuff, right? You're like, whoa, time out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start saying that. I'm gonna just start saying, pull the curtain back.
Pull the curtain back, bro. Every time. That's all. Yeah. I go now. I see a hustle. I go. Let somebody behind there. I know.
Yeah. Well, I thank y'all for sticking this long. You know, we definitely shifted conversations. You know, but it's good to have a panel where you have multiple opinions and input and all of that. So yeah, it was a good first stream of the year. I have a lot of other things that I never got to. So hopefully in 2025 we can get to the rest of it.
We'll have more.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit this outro for all of us if I can learn how to do it. All right, y'all.
All right.
Have a good weekend, Rob. I hope that you enjoyed today's
you too.
episode.
Peace.
I would like to thank my guests for joining me, or simply thank you for watching the pre-recorded episode. No matter what your birth order is, how you self-identify, and whether you like pancakes or waffles. If this is the first time you're hearing it today, I want you to know that you are loved. You were put here for a purpose that only you can fulfill. Until next time, take care of yourself. Be sure that you like and share the videos, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notifications bell. This is RealRam out. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. I would like to thank my guests for joining me, or simply thank you for watching the pre-recorded episode. No matter what your birth order is, how you self-identify, and whether you like pancakes or waffles. If this is the first time you're hearing it today, I want you to know that you are loved. You were put here for a purpose that only you can fulfill. Until next time, take care of yourself. Be sure that you like and share the videos, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notifications bell. This is RealRam out.